What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We live it like this could be a final day. We're dreamers. Don't care what the others say. We're doing this in our way. We come alive in the nighttime. There's something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. You
So quick look at
What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We live it like this could be a final day. We're dreamers. Don't care what the others say. We're doing this in our way. We come alive in the nighttime. Something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you're alive. We come alive in the nighttime.
Well, hello and welcome to match number 2 of this T20 series between USA and Zimbabwe at the glorious Grand Prairie Stadium here in Grand Prairie, Texas. I'm Patel. This is the second fixture of this series, and just a little earlier, our Brian Walters was down at the toss. We want to hear about that, but first, let's hear about this wicket. Same wicket, but new things every single day. Brian, take it away.
So quick look at the pitch and the conditions ahead of this game number 2 between the USA and Zimbabwe. First, the pitch itself. 10 millimeters of grass rolled in. So relatively grassy, but it's rolled in all the way. So you'd expect a decent amount of bounce, a decent amount of carry. I think given the conditions today, not as rainy or as cloudy as it was yesterday or in the first game on Friday. So the first team batted first, Zimbabwe scored 124. I get the sense that this is a little bit more than a 124 pitch. Something around 140 to 150 may be what you expect from the team batting first. Conditions perfect, a little cloudy, but no rain expected. 62-meter boundaries all the way around. Conditions are such that it will be really challenging for the team that is chasing. So I would think that whoever wins the toss would want to have a bat.
Well, we heard it there from Brian Walters about that wicket. Same wicket we're using, but a little bit of grass on could be exciting for sides bowling first, but plenty of runs in store. But now we'll have to wait and see about that toss, that much needed toss. Who won it? What happened? Any changes? Let's go back down to Brian for it.
Tails.
It is a tails. So USA having won the toss, Aditiba, what do you want to do?
Bowl first.
Interesting call. Tell me why.
I think whatever we can get of the wicket would be in the morning, and obviously the wicket's going to get better on as we play. I think we're just going to give ourselves the best chance of chasing. So, yeah, whatever we can get of the wicket in the morning, we chose to bowl first.
Very interesting, because conditions are a little bit better today than they were yesterday. Does it fear, or does it come into your thinking that Zimbabwe, which is a pretty strong batting side, might actually like to bat first?
We actually don't mind that. You know, because obviously we want to give ourselves the best chance chasing, and it is a really good batting wicket, and because they're such a good batting side, we would want to just keep ourselves in the game as long as possible when we're chasing.
Fantastic. Best of luck. Okay. So, Chipo, you have been inserted into bat. I get the sense you'd have wanted to bat anyway, am I right?
With the overcast condition, we're looking to bowl first, but I think it's also a good toss to lose again, because we now know the conditions. Yeah.
Tell me, first of all, but you talked about the conditions. How acclimated are you to the overall conditions, and how comfortable is the team in general?
Yeah, I think we have some wickets like this which are a bit slow. So I think we will be fine. I think we just have to apply ourselves. Yeah, then I think all will be well. Yeah.
And finally, any changes to your side?
Yeah, we just someone got injured during the warm up now. So Josephine is out, Runyararo is in. Yeah.
Fantastic. Best of luck. So there you have it from the center. The USA has won the toss and they've decided to have a bowl.
Excellent stuff from Brian Walters down there in the middle. You heard it first. USA, they're winning. They've won the toss. They're going to have a bowl first. So we'll get to see Zimbabwe back in action. Now, remember, we're coming off a game where Zimbabwe did bat first. They put up just 124, but restricted the USA women to 96. Like we said, I'm Om Patel, joined by Brian Walters. Brian, a very good morning to you. A thrilling contest in store for us here on match number 2.
Good morning, Aman Patel. Absolutely thrilling contest underway. We were sort of the mindset that it might have rain. Rain might have had something to do with the match on Friday. I don't think there's any such eventuality today. Cloudy conditions, but a full day's worth of cricket ahead.
Yeah, and we actually spoke before the toss about what we thought the U.S. might do. We thought they might just try to change the approach here if they were to win the toss. But we also thought this would be what Zimbabwe wanted to do. Come out there, bat first. Their 2 leading run scorers in T20I cricket, their openers. They didn't find runs yesterday, so they're thinking we scored 124 despite them. Now if we get us runs on the board with them, we're looking at 150, 170.
Oh my goodness, yes. So the 2 batters at the top that you referred to, between them, that is Keleslovu and Mupachikwa. Between the 2 of them on Friday, they scored 8 runs. That's 8 runs more than you and I scored, and neither of us is playing. You would get the sense that the very aggressive pair at the top of the lineup would be capable of putting runs on the board. You said 150, 160. That's very doable. 124, I think, is far below par for them. I'd look for something bigger from them today.
They do have a change, Zimbabwe, and hopefully we can get you those squads in a second. Josephine Nkomo actually suffered an injury, like we heard at the toss, right up during warm-ups, and so that's a huge blow. The second highest wicket taker in T20I history for Zimbabwe. Coming in is Runrario Pasipanodia. She comes into the side, so there is going to have to be that shift in the bowling department without Nkomo.
Well, you lose your strike bowler. That is a big loss. And Runerato Pasipanodia is capable cricketer, but on balance, I think you lose overall capability for the squad when you lose a Josephine Nkomo. So, having said that, they're a very talented side, and the loss of one player is not going to make a tremendous amount of difference. You don't ever like seeing anybody hurt, but they're a deep enough side that you don't think that it makes a big difference overall.
Yeah, and Pasapanodia, she's only 17 years of age, will turn 18 come in June. For the States, they do have a change of their own. We talked about it. The pace bowling lineup yesterday just didn't produce the goods, and so they've looked to revamp it. Mahi Madhavan out for today. Jivana Ra, she comes into the side. Brian, what is your take on that?
You and I were talking off air on Friday, and I said that if you wanted to construct an opening new ball lineup of pace bowlers, just not necessarily with regard to results, but just physical appearance and ability to bowl a tight seam-up delivery, you can't do much better than Gitika Kodale and Giovanna Aras. So I'm very happy to see both of them in the lineup. I'm also going to be very encouraged by the fact that I think the conditions are such that you can get some swing first up, and with those 2 new ball bowlers, you'd like to see some incisiveness into the top of the Zimbabwe lineup. We'll see how well they do there.
And we've mentioned we're here at Grand Prairie Stadium. You would have just seen Santi Amadi, Disha Dingra, and Gargi Bogle. They just have a smile behind them. They see themselves on the big screen. That's one of the features of Grand Prairie Stadium, and it's such a blessing to be here, being able to call this match with you at this beautiful facility and venue. There's been a lot of history here. First International Women's Series held here, and again, thankful to be a part of this as well. For Zimbabwe with the bat, we mentioned they were below par, but Loreen Shuma carried this lineup alongside beloved Biza. So you felt that the depth in the order already. If you are Zimbabwe, we've talked about maybe 150, 160. What are you looking at to start with here on the surface?
Excuse me. I certainly want a better start from Kelis Dlovu and Modesta Mupachikwa. And I said earlier that between them, I said 8. They actually combined to score 3. So I got that wrong. But the point remains the same. Kelis Dlovu and Modesta Mupachikwa are the ones who are the engine at the top of the lineup. Kelis Dlovu herself is within 2 sixes of being the leading 6-hitter in international T20 cricket for Zimbabwe. So that's where you get a lot of the jump start to the top of the innings, and you know that they're capable of doing that. Plus, having failed on Friday, you'd think that they'd be that much more motivated to put something big here to start the game.
And the USA bowling lineup isn't one that wouldn't be without a little bit of confidence, especially Gitika Kodali right up top of the order. You mentioned the appearance and the size of Gitika just reminds you of a typical opening fast bowler. She picked up 3 wickets on Friday. One of them was Ndlovu up top, and then she was able to take 2 later on in the innings, nailing those Yorkers. It just felt she didn't have the support at the other end. Asani Vagela was a touch expensive. So was Mahimadovin in her 1 over. You just felt that there weren't enough dot balls created whilst the USA were able to take wickets from one end of the ground.
It's so important. The old saying is great fast bowlers hunt in pairs. And if you have one fast bowler at one end who is keeping things quiet and taking wickets, you'd like to have that same support at the other end, because that's where pressure is built. And to your point, even though I absolutely love the lineup that was played on Friday, but it just lacked a bit of incisiveness. And if you bring in a Giovanna Aras, you would think that that's where that would be created. And so we'll see how well that works here.
Spinners were on for the USA. Ritu Singh bowled brilliantly, didn't pick up a wicket, but was slightly of her economical self. Apart from that last over, Aditi Bachidasma took a wicket. As we see the lineup now for the US, we mentioned that one change is it's Josephine Nkomo who makes way for the young 17-year-old and Raniario Pasinapodia. And of course, we're going to be talking about the top of the order, Kelis Ndlovu and Modesta Mupachikwa. Those two are going to have a big thing up top the order. But this USA bowling lineup, while the pace department wasn't there, Brian, we mentioned the spinners were on.
Spinners are there. You recall that Ritu Singh, who I think is a key spinner in this attack, her 3rd over on Friday was a bit expensive, and so she'll be motivated also to pull things back as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, she's a wicket-taking bowler as well. She kind of judges her success and failures based on the wickets. That's why she's into the side. And the one spinner that kept things very tight was Aditi Bachidasma, the captain, 4 over 17 runs and the 1 wicket. She'll have the ball to start things off today. So, like we so often see, the States will open with spin and pace, and typically it is the off spin of Chudasma. She's going to take the ball to start from the same end she was bowling at yesterday. Ball number 1 coming into Modesta Mupachikwa. Well done there. That's Giovanni Arras, who's just gotten into the team, and she's had to make a good diving effort, but first runs on the board for Zimbabwe.
Especially when you just get into the side and you're on the field for the first time, nothing more than immediately been thrown into the action, and that's always good to see. Interesting that you have your fast bowler feeling at short fine leg, or short third rather. It makes me think that they may bring her on as first change instead of actually being opening the bowling.
And Ndlovu, we know the power that she possesses, wasn't able to get going yesterday, gone for naught. And I think for her, it's going to be about settling back in with the dot balls around her. It's a similar stroke to how she got out 2 days ago, but this time she's played it to perfection, just goes over the top, and the first boundary for Zimbabwe.
I was struck with some power, and that's what you expect from Kelis Dlovu, because she, as I said earlier, just 2 sixes away from being the leading hitter in cricket for Zimbabwe, in T20 cricket anyway, going over the top expertly there. Played with the turn, which is what you like to see. Clears mid-off, goes away for 4.
Just a little misfield, won't result in any runs, but this is the Kelis Ndlovu that you like. You're seeing her start to time the ball rather than trying to overhit the ball. And when she does that, she's one of the more effective batters in the women's circuit. change-ups from Chudasama. This is what she does well. She's able to change the way batters play her, whether it's on the front foot or the back foot.
My goodness.
Looking for that big sweep, but a first over that results in a first boundary. A much better start to the day for Zimbabwe. 5 without loss. Well, Gidaga Kodali, she's got the ball in hand. We talked about that match yesterday. Picked up the 3 wickets and again comes with a lot of experience. Starting from the same end of the ground, operating with a slip. You like the aggression early, Brian?
Absolutely love the aggression. In addition, because most of the deliveries in that first over were faced by Kelis Dlovo. So you want to make sure that Modesta Mopachikwa starts playing.
Start off with a big wide. She bowled a couple of those in warm-ups and just felt like it was kind of slipping out of the hand. But yeah, Mpachikwa, she would feel hard done yesterday when the hit wicket, not the way you would want to go out, and it didn't really feel like she let the bowlers earn it. So today, just expect her to really be dialed in. Flurry of an edge, but just out to deep third. Sanvimadi cleans it up. This is the matchup now. Kelis Ndlovu, she's hit a boundary already, but she was undone by Kodali 2 days ago. This is where you can right some of the wrongs of Friday.
So watch mid-off. That is Ritu Singh. She's going to be, I think, in action here because Kelis Ndlovu has shown a propensity to go over the top, just over mid-off. And that's how she was out on Friday. So given that that's how she was out dismissed on Friday, I would think that number one, she would be aware of that. And so maybe the ball wasn't quite there for the drive on Friday and she ended up going straight to Ritu Singh. But if the ball is anywhere in her arc, she can easily clear that fielder. So that's a matchup to watch for.
You can see that bit of shape that Kodali is getting too. It's not as cloudy and windy as it was Friday, but still plenty of gray clouds. Sun is dissipating from the south, but there is that opportunity to swing the ball a bit early. So expect Kodali to continue to try to move it. We've seen 2 in. Is there 1 coming away? On cue, she's moved it across Ndlovu. Now this was the run of play. 3 dot balls led to the false stroke. Has she learned the lesson?
Her experience would tell me that the lesson certainly is there to be learned and she will be aware of that. And you don't get the sense that she'll be in any way bothered by the pressure of the 3 dot balls.
Sani Vagela is usually so quick and so accurate. You just felt that it was nearly the opportunity that the States were after. But this is the type of running that Zimbabwe did well yesterday versus the U.S. struggled to push things out to the left and right of the fielder.
That's exactly right. So obviously just getting started, but you get the sense that the Zimbabweans are a lot more comfortable at this stage as compared to where they were 2 overs into the match on Friday.
Economical start for Kodali. Just goes for the 3 runs in her first over, 8 without loss. But to continue, again, this is the combination that the States tend to like. Ndlovu has now just played 4 dot balls in the last 5 deliveries she's faced. Oh, the missed field won't result in any extra runs. Make it 5. It just feels something's got to give now for Ndlovu, and you could see Trudasma starting to push out her fielders, just sending her another fielder into the offside. Mid-wicket inside the ring has moved into another catching cover, and now there's a backward point, a cover point, and a cover on the circle. Goes for the sweep and will get it away. Risky business there from Ndlovu. But this is what the States would want, to be able to clog up the dot balls and just force the hand of the Zimbabweans.
I agree with that statement, but I also agree that even though both of these bowlers have started out relatively economically, I think that you will see that the Zimbabweans appear to be a lot more comfortable. Yes, the first match, the first wicket fell with no runs on the board. You've already gotten a handful of runs here, just 10, so relatively inexpensive start. But it feels like this opening pair is playing themselves in and getting more and more comfortable.
That's glorious from Ndlovu. Got the one she liked and pounced on it. Another 4.
I talked about that elevated drive over extra cover with the turn. She's playing, the ball is turning away from her, from the captain, Chudasama, and she absolutely belts this over extra cover. That is a lovely shot. We're in an enclosed area, and you could hear the sound of the bat off of the ball off the bat. It's a brilliant shot.
Backs it up with yet another brilliant stroke, carving it away through the offside. Back-to-back boundaries from Ndlovu to close out over number 3, 18 without loss.
Whew. So that's what I was referring to when I said that they appear to be getting comfortable. I have 4 runs and over, generally. And she just got taken for a number of runs, 10 runs to be specific in this over. So it feels like the things are developing the way that Zimbabwe wants them to.
And credit to Zimbabwe, even on Friday, they seem to bide their time better than the States batters. They understood there are periods of time where the bowlers are going to be on top, but they didn't let them frustrate them into up the back foot. And they do this so well. Just that easy single, just pushing it into different areas, making sure they get 1, and not eating up 5 dot balls in a row and not letting these overs just drain past them.
So going right now exactly at the rate of a run a ball, 6 and over. Obviously that projects to a score of 120, but 120 was a far below par score for them on Friday. I think they're looking for much more than that today.
And Kodali feels like the key for the States if they want to keep them to that 120 or below mark. It almost feels like she's got to come away with some wickets here. And she's got to break this partnership, because if she doesn't come away with it, it puts so much pressure on an Asani Vagelu who's not bowling at her absolute best, and a Shivan Aras who's back into the team.
Well, given the start and given how the things have, or the play has developed so far, my sense is that Zimbabwe, going back to our boxing analogy from Friday, is winning these early rounds.
And Ndlovu's putting on an absolute show, this time all along the carpet, through extra cover, find her another 4 runs.
I'll tell you what, I mentioned Ritu Singh earlier, and that was played to her right. That area, sort of the arc between mid-off and extra cover, she absolutely loves that area of the field, and she has scored heavily through that area this far in the day.
My oh my, the Americans weren't expecting this, winning the toss, choosing to bowl first. And Zimbabwe have absolutely pounced on anything with width, on any opportunity to score. It has been no holds bar here from the Zimbabweans.
It's interesting because that last shot, she started going for the big shot, and then just at the last second realized it wasn't there for the drive, and then played essentially a much more conservative shot.
There it is, right away. Gitaka Godali gets the counter punch. What have you done, Ndlovu? And against the run of play, the Americans strike at the close of the fourth over.
You hear the yell from Gitaka Godali because she knows that she has landed a big blow for her side. Sometimes your biggest strength can also be weakness, because I talked about how much she scores through that. The simple catch taken that time, that is going to be a body blow. Look at that replay again. Didn't quite keep it down. A pretty straightforward catch to Disha Dingra, and that is a body blow. Yes, they've gotten off to a fast start, but the Americans will like having taken that wicket.
23 for 1 at the close of the fourth over. Ndlovu has to walk back. More damage done today, but she was just getting things going, Brian. She was just starting to feel comfortable out there in the middle. It brings out the captain, Chipo Tripano, who walks out, who spent a long time in the middle yesterday and really let things and held a side together for Laureen Shuma, and brings about a bowling change for the United States. It'll be Isani Vagela, who's got the ball in hand. Expensive, no doubt about it, on Friday. Can she find the right lines to start with today?
Well, this is important. This is a really important matchup. Mopachikwa is very aggressive, and if there's any departure from the discipline in terms of length or line, she can be punished.
Nearly. It was nearly a one-handed blinder from Vagela. If there's anyone in the U.S. team you could think would take that catch, it's Asani Vagela, and she almost did it to perfection.
Look at this, coming right back at her bullet, and she just almost pulls off a stunner of a catch. That would have been spectacular. Unfortunately, sometimes those either stick or they don't. And this time, at least, unfortunately, from the standpoint of Isani Vagela, she wasn't able to collect it.
The Americans might have a ploy here. They seem to be almost over-pitching a touch because Zimbabwe's playing with very hard hands. It's not the first time we've seen one in the air. As they won't get through for the single. So it seems to be a ploy to say, yeah, you can drive, but we're going to find a delivery in the air, too.
It's almost like a test match approach where you bowl a fuller length to try to induce the batters to go for the drive. Of course, it worked against Ndlovu, and they seem to be persisting with that same line of thinking here.
A little shout. I think it's just the ground, but you can see Vagela much sharper today, no doubt about it. She's been in the right areas, and she's mixing it up nicely here to Tripano.
Certainly like to see it, and she seems to be sort of a momentum type player. One or two balls go the way that she wants it to, and then that puts her fully into the game. Let's see if she's able to carry it on from here.
Just away. Runs down to deep third. Asani Vagela nearly saw the back of the Zimbabwean captain.
Wow, she certainly found the edge. Diving attempt by Pooja Ganesh just out of her reach. And then the fielder at deep third is the one who cleans up.
Surprised to not see a slip fielder in there, Brian. Just because you are getting that angle away. You're wanting them to drive. It just feels like a missed opportunity to not have a first or second slip in place.
Well, I talked about the test match length. Well, what goes along with the test match length is the test match field. So you'd think at least one slip would have been appropriate. Bowling a fuller length is fine, but then if you don't back it up with fielders and catching positions behind the wickets, then that sort of defeats the purpose.
Almost encourage them to get rid of backward square inside the ring with the line that Vagela is bowling. Brilliant over to start things off. Just the 3 runs coming from Vagela's first, 26 for 1.
So 5 overs in the books. Aman, we're going to work this boxing analogy to death. But from the first few rounds, I would think from 5 overs, 4 to Zimbabwe, 1 to the U.S., would you say?
Yeah, I think it's almost as if Zimbabwe are running the combinations. They're getting the hooks leading into the jabs, but the Americans landed that one big hit to close out a round. So you would favor Zimbabwe, but the Americans showing signs of life.
So Ritu Singh now into the attack for the first time. Immediately giving up a single to Modesta Mupachikwa. Been there now, just faced 7 balls. 5 from 7 are her figures. Chipo Tiripano just getting started, 2 from 5. Interesting passage of play coming up last over the power play.
Ritu Singh is your wicket-taking option. She went wicketless on Friday, and she's going to want to rectify that. It felt that because the Americans couldn't take wickets in the middle, it just allowed Zimbabwe to tee off in the later stages of the game. So these overs from Ritu Singh, ever so important.
Swept around the corner. That's going to run away for runs. That may actually get to the boundary. That's not necessarily a bad delivery in terms of the length. The line probably a little too straight, though.
It's to Tiripano's liking. She loves the sweep shot. She plays it excellently well, and that was just the perfect blend of control, timing, and power. She's purposely played that behind square, away from Sanvi Amadi, and there was nothing left for that ball to do but go to like a tracer bullet out to the rope.
Yeah, looking back at that replay, again, that ball pitching well outside the line of leg stump, and from around the wicket, that certainly presents no problems. Similar looking ball, similar looking result. Consecutive 4s here to start over number 6. And Ritu Singh probably needs to bowl the ball closer to the line of off stump.
Well, it almost feels just like a lack of awareness of who you're bowling to. It's not a terrible spot to bowl. It's just far too full for Tiripano on stumps. She's someone who loves to sweep. She's looking for any opportunity to do it, make a reach outside the off stump. That's just far too easy. It will result in back-to-back boundaries every time.
Almost went for the hat trick there, but that was a correction that you talked about. Start outside the line of off stump. That becomes a more difficult shot to play.
And the length of that was far better as well. She has to play more of a conventional sweep and has to focus on getting it down. There's opportunities to take wickets. A backward square leg fielder now in the deep for Tiripano.
So 4 straight sweeps. They're essentially incentivizing her to play the shot that she loves to play. That one just going for a single, though.
And you don't mind Ritu Singh going for 1s, but she's already gone for 10. This is one of your premier strike bowlers who just has a handy knack of taking wickets. She just has to be more accurate. And you can't go away through your overs and just saying, oh, we've got 1 early. What if we can just make our way to 15? That's not going to work.
Played to short extra cover. As you mentioned, a bit of an expensive over. First one here bowled by Ritu Singh, 10 coming from it. Power play done, 36 for 1.
What the boundaries also do is it allows Modesta Mupachikwa, who hasn't really found the middle of the bat, to sit at the non-strikers end or eat some dot balls and feel more than comfortable. Because at the other end, there's boundaries flowing, whether it was into Lovu, who is pummeling them through the offside, or now Tiripano, who's starting to get the sweep out and play the runs around. Especially with Asani Vagelo's over being so tight. This is what the U.S. were missing. Bowling in partnerships. They haven't done it throughout the series yet.
Oh, we certainly talked about the importance of bowlers operating in partnerships. If you are leaking runs from one end, then there's no pressure being built, and that essentially gives the batting side more freedom and more options in which to score, and certainly more options now because you're out of the power play. To pick up those singles. Back to Asani Vagela for her second over. Tickled around the corner. Let's see if this came off the body of the batter. Yep, there's a signal from umpire Shane Samuels. Leg by start over number 7.
Vagela's been very tight, and she hasn't, even though this one's probably a bit too straight, it's the lengths in which he's been operating in that just don't allow either batter to really be comfortable. I think now is a new challenge, right? The righty-lefty combination is so tough, especially for someone who bowls the in-swinger. Can just let it go awry from time to time, and she's spread out the field now outside the power play as well, so plenty of opportunities to score from Pacheco, who's 5 off 8.
So my question to you, Aman Patel, we talked about Giovanna Aras earlier. There have been 2 spinners who have bowled ahead of the person who I mentioned was the sort of built-in-a-lab fast bowler. When do you bring her in?
Well, I reckon we'll see her after Ritu Singh's next over. If Ritu Singh gets the next over, I think the way you're going to see the U.S. operate is they're going to go pace spin for as long as they can. Just try to keep Zimbabwe off balance. So I imagine the next over, whether it's Ritu Singh, whether it's Sanvi Amadi, is going to be spin. And then we're going to see Giovanna Ras replace Sania Vigela from this end.
Knocked into the gap. May look for 2 here. They do look for 2. Can you imagine? The ball did not even come close to the 20. They did not get a second run there. Just thought for a second they did. But let's just say that the opportunity to pick up runs inside the circle is one that you'll always find to be a very underthought skill, put it that way.
It's because they were so quick they didn't got the option to try and turn back. They elected not to, but again, this signs of good running side.
Now, so much can be learned from the Americans, or by the Americans from the Zimbabweans. This time, the ball was hit directly to backward square leg, but the pace was taken off of it, and it's rolling slowly. That gives you the opportunity to pick up a single, and those are the little details that I think the Americans can learn.
Yeah, if I'm the Americans, I'm going to pull up with my Heritage Caterers goodie bag and sit down on a film session and watch the running between the wickets on these last 2 deliveries. There's lots to learn.
Interesting. Advancing down the track, and that ball almost trickles back onto the stumps. She may consider herself lucky there, Modesta Mupachekwa. End of over number 7. Good start for the Zimbabweans despite the loss of 1 wicket, 39 for 1.
Struggling for any sort of timing as Mupachekwa, and it's very rare. But if you stifle runs from the other end, you make things happen. You see the scorecard there. Plenty of batting to come. We've already talked about beloved Biza. We've talked about Laureen Shuma, both of whom brilliant in Friday's match. And the USA women, that's been pace spin. That's been the combination. Ritu Singh's coming back in for a second. So they're going with the formulaic approach. Will it work for them?
Very interesting. Ritu Singh, in fact, they have made a change. It is not Ritu Singh. It's now going to be the lady we just mentioned, Giovanna Aras, who will be coming into bowl for the first time this series. Did not play on Friday, so wanting to see how this young pace bowler does, something that's very exciting for me.
Always great to see young cricketers continue to get opportunities. She's been away from the team for a little bit, but the 21-year-old ready to go.
That is a good start. And again, look at the running between the wickets. It feels sometimes that you can almost think that it doesn't get as much, let's call it promotion, as the 4s and the 6s. But such an important element to this game is just dropping the ball into the gaps, taking the pace off, and picking up those singles. Keeps the scoreboard ticking. Such an important skill, and the Zimbabweans do it to perfection.
Well, meal isn't just about the main course. You got to have your sides in there to supplement it. That's what those singles do for any side.
Having said that, these first 2 deliveries from Giovanna Aras are bang on target. The ability of a good side to be able to score off of even good balls is something that's important. Yeah, so 3 deliveries into her first over here, her first spell. Giovanna Aras has only conceded 1 run so far.
Yeah, and she's done it by keeping things simple, right? She's not looking to take wicket. She's not looking to go for the glory ball. She's gone to the length, right over the top of off stump, and let Zimbabwe try to do something from there.
Oh my goodness, how good is she? Full and straight, bang in front. Umpire Vijay Malela says you are on your way. Mupachikwa, 6 from 14. The Zimbabweans are 40 for 2.
Well, that's got to feel good for Giovanna Aras. It's just her second T20I wicket for the United States, and it's come off maybe the best batter in Zimbabwe, who's just struggling out in the middle. Yeah, that looks dead for all money. Struck on leg stump, probably goes on to take leg pole, and that's the end of Mupachikwa. USA get their second. It's 40 for 2 here in the 8th.
Modesta Mupachikwa will go back and look at that and wish that she'd played that with a straight bat. She tried to play that to mid-wicket when probably playing it to somewhere around mid-on would have been a better option. But the other thing is, if we can see that replay again, the ball moved off the seam and moved back in, and I think you're exactly right. That's smashing into leg stump. New batter now going to be Laureen Schumer. 2 wickets down, so the Americans will feel a lot better about where they are now.
Well, they can take their breath, but they have to be back. They have to be at Zimbabwe now. Laureen Schumer showed her class just on Friday. We take a second look at this. That bit of inward movement, as you mentioned, and it looks straight and dead on. Laureen Schumer, 38 off 27, 5 fours, and the 6 to her name on Friday morning. She was so touted and so brilliant. It's going to take a lot for the U.S. to get her out. And this feels, again, they can't just let this game trickle into the 15th, taking a wicket every couple of overs. They almost have to be at Zimbabwe straight from the word go.
Anytime you take a wicket, particularly as a fast bowler, that energizes you. I would expect to see that energy to continue here from Giovanna Aras. First delivery to Laureen Schumer. Full and straight, good delivery, played back to the bowler, no run. Good, excellent first over. This underway here for Giovanna Aras.
Has to be careful with that length. If she starts to push it out wide, we saw the gorgeous cover drives from Laureen Schumer off the front and back foot. So don't want to give any bit of width.
What an absolutely brilliant first over by Giovanna Aras. 1 run conceded and the big wicket of Modesta Mupachikwa. End of over number 8. The score is 40 for 2.
Brian, this is almost reminiscent of Adel Zamunu from Friday. Came in and just bowled 4 on the trot. Didn't give up runs, didn't take a wicket, but was so economical. It took till her 3rd over to get a run off the bat scored. She finished her day just going for the 8 runs in 4 overs. If Giovanna Aras can do this, the wickets come and go, but give up 1 run, give up 2 runs through her 4 overs, it's a whole other feeling for Zimbabwe with the bat.
That is actually a very apt analogy. And for the USA's sake, you would think or you'd hope that she would play the same role as you see there, the Manhattan. You'd hope that Giovanna Aras would play the same role as Adel Zamunu did on Friday for Zimbabwe. The captain has been there for a while now. Tirupano, 13 from 12, 2 fours, and she's now facing up to a new bowler. Swept around the corner, and it goes down to deep fine leg. Couple of runs on offer. And there it is. That first bowler is going to be Sanvi Madi. How do you think Sanvi Madi goes to the captain?
What we saw with there was flatter, and she was looking to try to slide it across. I want to start more middle leg stump or middle stump, but I don't mind her getting swept from there. It's on a length. There's a bit of risk involved, but just start on stumps. Bring the LBW back into play.
Struck firmly through extra cover, but there's coverage out there. Should just be a single here. Good piece of fielding in the deep.
Chetna Reddy Pagadiala is the one who generally has a good, strong throwing arm from the deep and covers good ground out in that extra cover area.
She also took some brilliant catches out in warm-ups, one-handed on the rope, throwing it back to herself. Wow. So anything hit out into that region, you could almost expect her to come down with it. Field adjust now with Laureen Schuma on strike. It's all gone deep on the leg side. You've got your long on, your cow corner, your deep middle wicket, alongside a sweep recover.
Oh, goes past the outside edge. So momentum has swung definitely in the last couple of overs back toward the U.S. The Zimbabweans are slowing down now. That run rate back down to 5.14. Off the outside edge, short third, no run. Continuing to build that pressure, the Americans.
Sanvi Amadi sticking to the game plan from yesterday. She got rid of Laureen Schuma on a similar delivery, back of a length, right outside the off stump, and edge straight to Pooja Ganesh.
Oh, wow. Teasing her, tempting her with flight. For now, Laureen Schuma choosing to not go for it. There is, of course, protection out in the deep. See how long she's able to continue this cat and mouse game. Last ball coming up here in over number 9. Played into that extra cover area. They'll get a single, but what a good passage of play here for the Americans. End of over number 9, 44 for 2.
Watch on the fastest live streaming provider, StyxSports. Stream now on StyxSports. Live, fast, and free. Don't miss out. Only on StyxSports.com.
Spin pace partnership that would allow them to build pressure and then hopefully deal in wickets. We're going to get to see Giovanna Ras again, and we reckon we'll see Sanvi Amadi again. It's who else can do this? Can they finish the 20 overs with that pressure on?
Well, Laureen Schuma now back on strike. She's only scored 1 from the 6 balls that she's faced. And Giovanna Aras full of head of steam. Oh, got this one too straight though. Can't bowl that line with no fine leg in position. 4 runs.
Effortless, elegant, easy cricket here from Laureen Schuma. Finally got the loosener from Aras and just helps it around the corner. This is a backbreaker for the U.S. You just built up so much pressure, and you just alleviate all of it with that easy 4 given to Schuma.
Yeah, she will tell you that that one's just entirely too straight, Giovanna Aras. And you have a backward square leg in position inside the circle, but no one else behind square in the leg side. So absolutely can't bowl that line. Again, just a little too straight. This time just a single, though.
That's a killer way to start the over. You've picked up 5 off 2 deliveries, really risk-free. For Giovanna, get back to your line and your length. She got full for the wicket ball, and I like that's a change-up delivery. But since then, she's looking to go full. Get back to the length, get back to off stump, and just hold your lines there, and then throw the odd one up. That's how you got your wicket. You just lulled Mpachiko to sleep. Do it again.
No, the ball that was on the legs to the right-hander is going to be a good ball to Chipo Tiripano. Struck square, though. The length was too full and a lot of width outside the off stump, and that goes away for the second boundary in the over.
So good, square of the wicket. Once it comes off her blade, whether she's sweeping or whether she's playing that square drive, there's never a doubt about it. And on that length, you're never going to trouble the captain. Easy as you like, 4 runs, a second boundary in the over. And the Americans, again, they started to gain some momentum, and it's all gone.
Certainly all gone. You mentioned 3 runs that came from the last 2 overs combined, but already 9 runs from the first 3 balls of this over number 10. Scoring rate back up to 5.58. So the momentum shift happening again. Full toss, played down the ground. Not exactly the best delivery, but there's protection.
It's smart cricket. You hit your boundary. All right, don't get carried away. Let's get 1. Yeah, you could say she probably could have tried to go after it, could have tried to take it to the boundary rope, but she's just settling in. Get your single. We've picked up 10 runs in the over, and we've made Giovanna Ras, who looked unplayable in her first over, look absolutely ordinary.
So how do you come back here, Giovanna Arrest? Where do you land these last 2 balls of over number 10? Played away to backward point, not fielded clean, so they'll get a single here. A little bit of sloppiness in the field. 1 more run to backward point.
It's funny how all these things kind of pile on top of each other. When you bowl a bunch of dot balls and the pressure's on, everything seems to go to hand. But as soon as you give up some boundaries and runs are flowing, misfield here, misfield there, and you're just never able to get back on top.
Change in the line of attack now, choosing to go around the wicket to the left-handed Chipotiripano. Last ball over number 10 coming up. Back to the bowler. So she closes in quiet fashion, but a lot of damage done in that over. 11 runs coming from over number 10. 55 for 2 is your score. Water breaks coming onto the field. Make that drinks coming on.
Flicked away nicely.
Want to watch fastest live streaming with no delays?
Cleanly.
Get real-time updates. Only on StyxSports.
It's taken the over. Change of pace well.
Stay ahead, stay real-time, get fast streaming. Only on StyxSports.com. Cricket action at your fingertips.
There to drive again. Big edge to this.
Watch on the fastest live streaming provider, StyxSports. Stream now on StyxSports. Live fast.
Flicked away nicely.
Want to watch fastest live streaming with no delays?
Cleanly.
Get real-time updates. Only on StyxSports.
It's taken the over. Change of pace well.
Stay ahead, stay real-time, get fast streaming. Only on StyxSports.com.
For 2 at the close of 10 overs. Zimbabwe would love the position they're in a very similar one just 2 days ago. And they still have beloved Biza up their sleeves, still have Loreen Shuma and Terepano out there in the middle as well. This could be a long day for the Americans if they're not able to get the wickets early in the second half of this first innings.
Boy, I tell you, things could get pear-shaped here for the Americans very quickly if they're not careful. And it is going to be up to them to maintain or recreate the discipline that allowed them to have a couple of cheap overs numbers 7 and 8 or 8 and 9, if I'm remembering correctly. Sanvi Madi, I think, is key. Leg spinner, make sure that you land the ball in the right areas, particularly to the left-handed Chipotiripano. Because if you get the line wrong or the length wrong, they absolutely can hurt you.
Solid start here from Madi, wanting Shuma to continue to drive. She's got the leg side pushed all the way back in front of square. again, how many of these dot balls can they pile on top of each other? You have your X factor in Amadi, but you have to find a way to clog up runs first.
And it's not just about clogging up runs. At some point, it has to be about taking wickets, because the deeper you get into the innings with only 2 wickets having fallen, then that's when the inventiveness and the sort of exuberance of the players from Zimbabwe will come to the fore. So you at least would want to fancy yourself knocking over 1 or 2 of these. Certainly you'd want to break this partnership, which is as of right now the biggest partnership in the innings, 32 and moving.
You say that as Amadi will give chase. Do you think it's almost a mistake for the Americans to be this formulaic in their bowling order, that everyone's gotten 2 overs on the trot apart from Ritu Singh? Do you think there needs to be that fashion of mixing up bowlers and so batters aren't sizing them up?
Formulaic is an interesting word. And I love the fact that you come in with a plan. But, and I guess to some extent, there has been some flexibility shown by the captain Aditya Chudasama. But what do you do when things don't go the way that you're expecting it to is the question. And I think you're exactly right. You don't just want to maintain the exact plan, even if things are not going the way that you want them to go.
Close of over number 11. 60 runs on the board here for Zimbabwe. They looked untroubled and unrushed.
You're now looking to sort of game plan the rest of the way. Now, Aditi Chudasama is bringing herself back on. So she will be into her 3rd over. So she has 1 more left after this. Geetika Kodali has 2. Giovanna Aras looked really good in the 1st over. Took some stick in the 2nd over. You're starting to plan the end of your innings and see who is going to bowl where. I think you're going to have some major thinking to do here, Aditi Chudasama.
Well, a lot of it will depend on her over as well in terms of who she goes to next, because Chudasama is known for her ability to keep things tidy and then take the odd wicket or 2. But it's her economy rate that's made her so special. If she can't be economical, if she does go for 6, it almost would force you to bring in a Kodali maybe earlier than the 17th over. Maybe it brings a Vakela into play earlier just to see how you can stem the flow of runs and hopefully take that wicket leading up to the 15th.
The key in this part of the innings is going to be the next 2 overs from Sanvi Madi, I believe.
Oh, well, hello. Bit of innovation from the captain, and she does it to perfection. 4 runs.
I said it earlier that the longer this goes into the second half of the innings without having taken a wicket, the more inventive and expressive you'll see the Zimbabweans. That is what you saw there. For the first time, you see the reverse sweep broken out by the captain. She now moves into the 20s, 21 from 17 with 3 boundaries. 26 from 19, my apologies, with 4 boundaries, and she will continue doing that unless this partnership is broken.
And again, it's the relative ease in which she's scoring. She just feels unrushed, untroubled. She's able to sweep, reverse sweep, anything full. Has looked so easy. Look at that. Break this one out again. Tell me if you heard this story before. Down the legs, it gets swept. And they'll get 2 runs off of it. Again, so easy for Zimbabwe to maneuver the delivery anywhere they want to and to keep runs flowing.
Runs are flowing. The economy rate, or I'm sorry, the scoring rate, which had been somewhere around 4 only a few overs ago, is now up to 5.74. And you, without being too repetitive, if this partnership is not broken, you can expect to see that run rate continue to climb.
Well, one had to miss at some point, or you can't play every shot to perfection to put the Depano. It's not fair. You can leave some for the rest of us. That time, the slowness of nature of the delivery undoes it. Just away, and Chase Given. And they'll come back for a couple of runs as well, and a productive over for Zimbabwe. And the American captain's got something to think about as her third over comes to a close, 69.
Through that extra cover area, I will tell you that this is now starting to feel like they are looking to explore the partnership now worth 46, putting together the type of partnership that can potentially break the spirit of the Americans if they don't take a wicket.
And Ahmadi's now has almost been forced into the role of economist, try to keep runs down rather than be aggressive, hunt for wickets. It's such a difficult thing to navigate as a leg spinner. They will get home as well for that single. Is that going to hinder her ability? Like, do you reckon that's a problem for Ahmadi as she's bowling?
I don't know necessarily that that's a problem, but what I would say is, and I said it earlier, her last 2 overs need to go for a maximum of 10 runs, and that sort of helps keep things in check. It's obviously generally a lot more difficult to score off of a leg spinner, particularly, oh my goodness.
Trouble. Throw goes to the wrong end. Had to be at the bowler's end. It was a quick fire throw, but it was Chipo Trijapano that didn't want to move. Look at this, Brian Walters.
My goodness. Yeah. Oh, had that throw gone to the non-striker's end, she's out. Look at this. She hadn't even started sliding her bat yet. That throw gone to the non-striker's end, absolutely the wicket would have been taken.
And these are the little things that the U.S. just haven't won at all, both with the bat in hand or in the field. These are basics. You got to call it out. Got to get back to the bowling end.
Yeah, and admittedly, that one was relatively close. But yes, you absolutely keyed in on it. Somebody has to be saying, bowler, bowler. And when the throw goes to that end, that's where you'd expect the wicket to be taken. This one now played into the outfield for just a single. But 4 runs from the over so far with 1 ball to come. How important is it that this last ball is either dot or 1? Certainly not something that goes for a boundary. That's what you're looking for right there. Excellent close to the over. End of over number 13. 4 runs coming from it. By the way, that brings up the 5th partnership, 73.
Heritage Caterers, the official catering sponsor of the series.
Allow me to correct myself. That is not the 5th partnership. They've put on 33 runs. Came together when the score was 40. But the point is still the same. They've gotten to the point where they're being a lot more comfortable, and the scoring is at the rate that the Americans would be concerned about. Overall score now, or the scoring rate, up to 5.62, but that's from a low of about 4.3 only about 8 or so overs ago. So it's going in the right direction if you're Zimbabweans.
This is something that we felt is almost a move of desperation to bring Gidega Kodali in for over 14, force the hand of Aditya Bachudasma with the scoring rate did Zimbabwe. But now it opens a whole new can of worms, doesn't it? New questions to be asked. But the Americans won't worry about the end of the innings right now. How can we survive this phase headed to the 15th? They've opted for their strike bowler in Kodali.
Oh, this feels like a moment in this match. Having brought on your strike bowler here, this has to be a wicket in this over.
And you know this game plan from Godali is going to be very simple. Full, straight, in the block hole. We saw it 2 days ago, nailing the Yorkers, picking up 2 wickets at the tail end of the innings. But can she do it here against 2 batters who are in full flow?
And what you saw is a good single taken here. What you saw from Geetika Kodali on Friday, her penultimate over, she experimented a little, slower deliveries, loopy, slow full tosses. When she went back to her strength, nailing those Yorkers, full in the block hole, that's where she's the most dangerous, particularly at the end of the innings. So that's what you want to see from her here.
Now operating to the right-handed Shumo, who's been kept relatively at bay, just 14 off 19. That's nearly gone back on her as well. It's not the first time we've seen it, but again, this is what Godali does. A slight bit of tail back in and looking to keep this tower to a minimum, keeping it under 6, probably the minimum for the U.S. at this point.
Oh my goodness, yes. So halfway through the over, and runs coming not necessarily at a torrential rate, but when you bring a strike bowler back on in over 50, over 14, you're sacrificing her at the back end of the innings for the opportunity to take a wicket here.
And Zimbabwe would know that. And you
Yes.
see there's no element of risk any stroke that's being played. They're happy to give up 2 to 3
Yes.
to hold wickets on to the end. Ah, brilliant. It'll just be the 1, but she's done well to create the room to do it. Again, you mentioned it earlier in the day, scoring off good deliveries, that's not a bad ball at all, but it's the movement from Chipotle away and down the track that's allowed her to access that region of the ground.
And how important is it that from the Zimbabwean standpoint, this last ball from the penultimate over of your strike bowler, just don't have a wicket fall?
Misfield. This time it's Vagela, usually so sharp. It'll lead to a couple of more runs for Zimbabwe to close out the 14th, and the experiment of Godali doesn't reap the rewards. They get the 5 runs from the over, and at the end of the 14th, it's 78 for 2.
So, Aman, you're in the, let's call it the reverse power play, the last 6 overs. How important is it going to be that the Americans keep Zimbabwe somewhere around 130? If you can say to yourself, 130 is the target. Scoring at 8 and over from here, they get to 126.
Well, there you go. Use of the feet. And well done on the boundary is this Adingra diving out, keeps it to just a couple. And it's efforts like that that are going to keep Zimbabwe under 130. You feel like 8 and over at this point is going to be relatively simple the way Zimbabwe have gone about scoring. I can take a second look at this. It was almost destined for the rope. This Adingra from long on has made enough ground.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And to your point, the 130 mark, it does 2 things. It would mean that Zimbabwe tailed off in their batting towards the end of the inning. So you can carry some momentum with you as an American batting lineup. Also, that scoreboard pressure isn't 10 from the get-go. It looks relatively simple, and there are runs to be had. So you can score if you apply yourself. So it gives you momentum and a relatively solid belief that you can chase the total down. Driven out nicely. Just the 1. Amadi, well, she isn't taking wickets. She's done the economical part well. She's only given up 17 here with 3 balls left in her final over. Not something you talk about leg spinners often about, but it's always great to have that versatility.
Earlier, I'd said that her last 2 overs need to go for no more than 10. As of right now, with 3 balls remaining, and It's a misfield, but just going to be a single into the outfield. Or do they come back for a second? They do come back for a second. So including those couple of runs, you're now at 10 runs from her last 2 overs. How important is it now that she just hopefully keeps them from going to the ropes and just keeping the ball, if possible, on the infield? You'll take a couple more singles here. Just don't want anything big.
They'll keep finding runs, Zimbabwe, and it's going to be almost impossible to keep them from not scoring a runnable hole at this stage. They're willing to run after everything,
yes,
and they're going after you. So if you're Sanvi Amadi, instead of saying, okay, let's keep being economical, this is almost an opportunity to try to be a little bit more adventurous and loop something up, knowing the temperament Zimbabwe are in. Straight as an arrow, never a doubt about it. As soon as it's come off the bat of Loreen Schuma, she's let Grand Prairie alight with those kinds of strokes on Friday. Does it again to close out over 15.
Advancing down the track. Look at that. Absolutely gun barrel straight down the ground. And my goodness, this back end of the innings now feels like the Americans really do have some cleanup work to do. 89 for 2.
Well, Zimbabwe haven't lost too many wickets. The Americans have got themselves in the game just a touch. Couple of wickets from the big seamers, but that's it. Just the 2 to talk about. And none of the spinners have been able to get in, and that's been the real issue. Geetika Kodali's picked up 1. Ras had 1 in her first over, but other than that, no dot ball pressure and no wickets to speak of.
So Giovanna Ross is now back. She saw her bowl 2 overs. First was very economical, just 1 run and a wicket. The second went for few runs. How does she go here? First delivery, look at this. Looking to advance down the track is Captain Chipotiripano, and that really does now bring up the 50 partnership. Really good going here from this pair.
And it's the simplicity and approach that's allowing them to do this. They have a very clear mind. We are going after every delivery. We're going to score 1 off every ball. And if there's boundaries to come, great. If not, we're not going to get bogged down. We have 8 wickets in hand. We have plenty of bats to come. Let's go after the Americans.
Giovanna Russ continuing. Going after the Americans is exactly the ploy, as this is misfielded at backward point. It results in what an effort on the boundary. They'll come back for 2. In fact, they made it all the way for 3, but that effort in the deep saves 1 run.
Well, it's going to be a 2-sided thing here for Bhakti Sastry. She's the one who commits the error in the misfield to begin with. But she's done well not giving up, showing great commitment, getting out to the boundary rope, and at the very last moment, inflicting the dive that saves what ends up being just the 1 run. Good athletic play on the rope.
Tremendous effort back to Shastri, just putting in the effort for her team. Really like seeing that. Now, back to the captain. Appeal for catch. And gone. My goodness. What a big wicket that one is. I want to take a look at that again, but how huge a wicket and how big a catch by Pooja Ganesh. The Zimbabweans are 93 for 3.
There's a look of shock from Chipo Tiripano. She thought she was in the clear. She was moving and cruising her way along. But Giovanna Ras, hello and welcome. Just straightens a touch. Did it just find a bit of glove on the way through? She had just gotten herself into the 40s, and she has to walk away. 93 for 3, a wicket at the right time for the States.
Wicket at the right time indeed. Partnership worth 53, a good partnership. It absolutely landed several body blows to continue our boxing analogy, but I'm going to have to start over here. The new batter is going to be Natasha Mtomba. And the Zimbabweans at 93 for 3 will feel that they are on the verge of hopefully getting to about 130, but the Americans would have really been happy with the wicket that they just took. Natasha Mtomba, a man, was bowled by Geetika Kadali for 2 on Friday. So she has some work to do here.
Yeah, debuted in that game, and so just got to shake the nerves off here. And again, there's no holds bar in the last 5.
Looks to slash this one through the offside. I love the fact that deep third is in position. We talked about that a number of times. Have to have that position this late in the innings.
And this is the opportunity for the U.S. to go and get some dot balls. A new batter on strike.
Take a look at this seam position here. In fact, we'll get back to it after this delivery. Goes for the big hit. Doesn't exactly time it cleanly. They get a single. And so we'll go back and look at this previous delivery from Jivan Aras. And it is so important for the seam position. Look at that. Sort of slanting in, and then that might not have been the exact replay we're looking for. But to the point that we're making, it is so important, such a skillful part of these bowlers' armor to be able to just change the seam position, have it going in a different direction. Struck into the outfield here. That is off of the boot of the fielder, short extra cover. I believe that's Ritu Singh. She'll probably field that one for a while. Yet another single. That is the end of over number 16. 95 for 3 is your score. Here we see that seam position again. Slanted in. And then, I tell you what, it's a good piece of batting, though. The Zimbabweans really are equal to the task. And the skill level that they show.
I'm not sure we would have been ready for. Back to Ritu Singh here, and over number 17. Feels like a huge risk to go at to Ritu Singh, but it almost can work in their favor. Yes, went for 10 runs. There's plenty of other options to go to. You're trying to buy some overs for Aras and Kodali at the end, but you have 2 batters who are going to go after you. These are situations that Ritu Singh can thrive in if she's accurate.
Changed ends, now coming from the northern end of the ground.
Well, look at this. Brian, how is this missed? It's pitched outside the off stump, and it's gone to miss leg.
Oh, wow. Using the feet down the ground, catchable. Oh, my goodness, misjudged, and it goes all the way for 6. Long on was in the game for a second, misjudging it, and it goes over her head for 6.
It's a brilliant stroke from Loreen Schuma, no doubt about it. It's a stroke that she's played exceptionally well. But I think Dishadingra's out of position here on the rope. Look how far in she is off the circle. She needs to be pressed against that rope. You're not saving 5 yards in from the boundary. And again, it's little things that the U.S. just haven't done all too well. That's a situation where it hasn't cleared the rope by much. If she's pressed against the ring, she's taken that one, and that's the end of Loreen Schuma. A new bat comes in.
That is such an important point, Aman, because essentially it becomes a misjudgment. If you're back on the rope, both your feet maybe, let's say, 6 inches to a foot inside the circle, you probably take that one head height or head high. Launch down the ground. Doesn't matter exactly how she judged this one. This is 10 yards beyond the boundary. Another 6.
This was always the gamble. You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And right now, it seems that you should have folded them if you're Aditi Bajadasman, Ritu Singh. Overpitched, too wide. And Natasha says, yeah, thank you very much. I'm taking this to the cleaners.
Oh, my goodness. Next delivery from Ritu Singh. Oh, looks to slash this one away. Not making contact, but you mentioned it, Aman. It did feel like a bit of a roll of the dice. And I think it's fair to say that it did not work. End of 17, 108 for 3.
And we talked about 130 as a place the U.S. would feel comfortable with. Zimbabwe are going to look to continue to push the scoreboard up and up. And we've seen from Natasha Mtombo and Loreen Schuma the desire to go down the ground, the ability to hit straight back over.
Captain Aditi Chudasama has brought herself on for her last over. Conceded 24 runs from her previous 3 overs, so much more expensive than she ordinarily is. And she's bowling to 2 batters who have, you would think, full license here. Pushes this one through flatter and not wanting to offer any air. Look at a single. I think she'll accept the single at this stage of the innings.
Yeah, I don't mind that type of delivery. I think it can be touched towards the off stump, but flat, quick, on a length, not allowing these two to really set themselves up.
Don't know that she got that exactly where she wanted it, but she'll get 4 runs over the top of extra cover.
With the jitters of debut gone, it seems like Natasha Mtombo is able to play her natural game, come in and bludgeon the ball around, and she does just that, gets the width she's after, and there was never a doubt once it left the bat where this was going to end up over covers, into out, pick up 4 runs.
Down the leg side, tickled around the corner. Let's see if this flicked anything on the way through. Yes, it flicked the pad. So yet another leg bye. Been a number of those today. 5 extras in all, 3 of which were leg byes. So relatively well bowled so far from that standpoint as we have another look at that 4. Now quick single taken. So Aman, the acceleration that you're looking for has well and truly started. Scoring rate in the last 5 overs is 8.4, and you get the sense that they'll continue accelerating past that. Hammered straight down the ground. Has coverage down there though, so just 1 run. Disha Dingra in position there to make sure that they only just get a single. Down to the last ball of the captain's spell.
And it just feels like the States are out of answers. They just are just going through the motions right now.
In the gap, a lot of work for deep square leg to do. Diving attempt. You love the effort, but it ultimately proved unsuccessful. A boundary to finish off over number 18. 12 runs coming from that over. At the end of 18, the score is 1-2-0 for 3.
Out of answers, but there's plenty of questions being asked from Zimbabwe. They're just, again, using their feet so well. It's something we talked about with the States batting on Friday. They just felt glued to the crease. Really unwilling to make room, give themselves an opportunity to get inside the line. These two have shown an immense ability to come down the track, to get themselves inside the line, to give themselves the width to go over the offside at times. And the U.S. right now need to take a big breath. They need to just regroup, reevaluate, and just say, okay, how can we change the narrative on these two batters?
So Geetka Kodali has 1 over left. Javan Aras has 1 over left. Ultimate over the innings.
Well, she's been brilliant today, and she bowled in the death just a couple of days ago. She has this ability when she's on to be really effective just because of her natural angle is always attacking the stumps.
That is a great ball. If she can do that 5 more times, her captain will be happy. Bang on target with the Yorker.
And she doesn't offer too many opportunities for batters to get underneath her at the death either. She looks to push it up, looks to get into the Yorker mode, and she doesn't try to out-fancy her opponent.
Full toss, struck away, over pitching the Yorker, and it's going to go for 4.
And what's the difference in the delivery versus the previous one? Nothing from Asani Vagela. It's all to do with Loreen Shuma's use of her feet, attacking Vagela and changing where that ball is going to pitch. That's going to pitch on the crease line. Instead, she's come down the ground, and she's given herself the opportunity to meet it on the full and find a gap. This is what Zimbabwe have dominated with throughout their batting.
Boy, the acceleration continues. 9.4 is the economy rate in the last 5 overs. And they're absolutely off and running here, the Zimbabweans. Struck into the deep this time. On the leg side, do they want two? No, two not possible, don't think. Chetna ready, Pagadiala, seen her in the outfield. Good work to keep it to 1.
And they're past the score from Friday, so this almost feels like bonus runs for Zimbabwe because they just know that the U.S. would be lacking that confidence in chasing.
Down to the last 9 balls of the innings. Played square. Oh, trouble here at the non-strikers. And a better throw could have been troublesome. And they'll end up with 2 runs. Oh, didn't exactly get that one the way she wanted it. That's the captain herself, Aditya Chudasama. And they end up getting 2 extra runs.
Wow. Again, it's the little things, and there's collision course too of Vagela looking to get to that ball, actually knocked over the bails at first. But again, it's these little things that have allowed Zimbabwe to dominate. When they've given the States opportunities, the States have not capitalized on them at all.
That is well bowled, a slower delivery. And my goodness, Natasha Mutombo probably played about a week too early on that shot. It's going to be a dot.
And this is a delivery that Vagela has really mastered in the last couple of years. Her ability to take pace off through her fingers and really just corking the wrist on it. And that's the real key. For Natasha, who's played one way, can she continue to do that?
Opportunity at the non-striker's end by the bowler herself. Ultimately ends up being a good over. She conceded a boundary, but just 8 runs coming from it. Under the circumstances, it feels like a win. That is 128 for 3 after 19. 129 rather for 3 after 19.
Yeah, this one, she was going to be home regardless, Natasha, and it almost felt like a throw of frustration. There's a run-out opportunity earlier in the over. There's been a run-out opportunity earlier in the game where they've just missed which end to go to.
Don't miss out. Only on StyxSports.com.
Held to 120 and below, and give all credit to Zimbabwe because they've really masterfully configured this innings.
So the last over coming up now, and it's going to be bowled, as we suspected, by Gita Kakadali. Full license for Natasha Mutombo. And look out here. Goes for the big hit, big wind-up. They'll get at least 2. Running close to the boundary. And it is saved, but they only save 1 ultimately. So, 3 runs to start over number 20.
And I know this is going to go against the run of what we've been saying, but for Natasha, I would almost advise Gitika to pull the length back. Natasha Mutombo is looking to hit down the ground, looking to try to get under you. I think on a length with Gitika's extra bit of bounce can cause problems and can throw some dot balls in. The 1 ball Asani bowled like that, no run.
Well, she was listening to you. That's played away through extra cover. A long run on the boundary. That's a good piece of work. That is once again Isana Vagela, who has done yeoman's work in the field. And a couple more runs.
Well, I think it's a different question for Lorraine Shuma, but I don't mind this from Kodali because Shuma, again, has looked to go straight, looking to play over the top on anything full. So this just keeps Shuma at bay and forces her to play off the bounce as well.
It's interesting. So captain and strike bowler just had a quick conversation. Let's see what happens these last 4 balls. Oh, slash and a miss, a precious dot ball.
I'm curious to see if Kodali does try to slip in a slower one. If she just looks to change the pace a touch on Lorraine Shuma, who is looking to play with real hard hands through the offside.
Changes the pace. This is lofted into the deep and taken. That is a clean catch. How big a wicket is that? 134 for 4.
Made it look easy, didn't she, Chetna Reddy Pogidala? Just stood on the boundary, calm as ever, but a much-needed wicket. Lorraine Shuma was looking in great touch, picked up 46 runs, and was picking up where she left off. It's her high score in T20I cricket. but she just had to pick the one fielder who wasn't going to put it down. The U.S. get a wicket and, more importantly, get a massive dot ball to try to carry some momentum into the second innings, 134 for 4.
So the last 3 deliveries, 2, dot, and wicket. So essentially, your strike bowler is doing what you need for her to do in this last over. Excellent stuff with the ball for Geetika Kodali. So just 5 runs from the over, a wicket down, 134 runs on the board. New batter is in. It's going to be beloved Biza. You saw her yesterday with a player of the match, on Friday, with a player of the match, sort of an effort. You see that catch again from Reddy Pagadiala. Penultimate ball of the innings coming up. Oh my goodness, look at this. Now they'll steal a single where there really should not have been one. And she immediately gets off the mark for the last ball of the innings to be faced here by Natasha Mtomba.
And that's situational awareness there. Yes, you can inflict a run out. It doesn't change anything that's happened. Hold the ball, run it in even. They're not going to take that single if you don't throw it.
Last ball of the innings, full and straight. Played down the ground. You think they'd come back for a second run here. Nothing to lose. And the run out is affected. Doesn't make a big difference in the context of this match. 136 runs is where you end up for Zimbabwe. Boy, Aman Patel, your thoughts about the last over bowled by Geetika Kodali?
She was exceptional. She gave up 5 off her first 2, but from that point, she goes dot, wicket, 1 off an overthrow, and then the 1 plus the run out as well. She found the right areas to bowl, and this is why she's so exceptional in the death. And all right, you gained some momentum. Can you carry this now into your second innings? I know we're talking about Geetika Kodali, but for me, that first innings, it's Zimbabwe's book, and they've dominated in it. They understood how they wanted to get out the blocks with some boundaries early. They navigated through the tricky periods and never gave the U.S. a sniff.
So 136 for 5 is where you end up. Top scorer, Loreen Schuma, 46 from 37. You see it there. Ably assisted by Chipo Mugeri, or Chipo, Captain Tiripano, and 40 runs to her name, and a couple of scores in the teens. Natasha Mtomba, 19 from 13, Kelly Lovu, 18 from 19, the bowlers.
And it's confirmation about what we've been speaking of. We see the batting lineup there, but the bowling looks of one way. Geetika Kodali, again, 2 wickets to her name, 2 wickets for Giovanna Ras, but it's just the lack of wickets in that wicket column, plus you look at the economy rates beside them, they're expensive, and that's just not a formula that's going to win you too many T20I matches. The USA women will feel lucky to only be chasing 136.
Want to watch fastest live streaming with no delays?
Cleanly.
Get real-time updates. Only on StyxSports.
It's taken the over. Change of pace well.
Stay ahead, stay real-time, get fast streaming. Only on StyxSports.com. Cricket action at your fingertips.
There to drive again. Big edge to this.
Watch on the fastest live streaming provider, StyxSports. Stream now on StyxSports. Live, fast, and free. Don't miss out. Only on StyxSports.com.
You and I, we come alive. It's you, late nights in the middle of June. You always been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. We come alive. We come alive. We come alive in the nighttime. Something about What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We live it like this could be our final day. We're dreamers. Don't care what the others say. We're doing this in our way. We come alive in the nighttime. It's something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. You and I, we come alive. It's you, late nights in the middle of June. You always been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. We come alive. We come alive. We come alive in the nighttime. Something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. You and I, we come alive. Oh, we come alive.
Oh, this one is old. He's old. Shot again. This one is pulled, and this one should make it to the boundary. Yes, it does. See that lovely yacht passing the Benquet Channel. Wonderful before sailing.
When it's pulled and beautifully held by the fielder at short mid wicket. Excellent take up.
This one is polished off the back foot through the covers, and it's 2 runs, and the USA have won. Oh, this one is old. He's old. Shot again. This one is pulled, and this one should make it to the boundary. Yes, it does. See that lovely yacht passing the Benquet Channel.
wonderful before sleeping.
One is full and beautifully held by the fielder at short mid wicket. Excellent take up.
This one is polished off the back foot through the covers, and it's 2 runs, and the USA have won.
What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We live it like this could be a final day. We're dreamers. Don't care what the others say. We're doing this in our way. We come alive in the nighttime. It's something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. You and I, we come alive. It's you, late nights in the middle of June. You always been faking me out. Can't make me happier now. We come alive. We come alive. We come alive in the nighttime. There's something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. You and I, we come alive. Oh, we come alive. What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We live it like this could be a final day. We're dreamers. Don't care what the others say. We're doing this in our way. We come alive in the nighttime. There's something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. You and I, we come alive. It's you.
Welcome back to Grand Prairie. The assignment is simple for the Americans. Score 137 runs in the next 120 balls at the rate of 6.85 overs. Make that 6.85 runs per over. The Zimbabweans, you saw how expertly they bowled on Friday, and they absolutely will look to establish the type of pressure that I think broke the backs of the Americans on Friday. Aman Patel, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Brian. And yeah, this is going to be a real interesting run of play. And it's because when you look at the United States, it's what lessons have you learned from Friday that you can take into today's play. This was a relatively similar situation, 124, 10 runs or odd more. But you sat there thinking we should have chased that down, right? There are opportunities for us to improve upon our batting. getting the odd singles, not taking singles to fielders. Can we rectify those mistakes? You're also dealing with a slightly dampered Zimbabwean lineup. No Josephina Nkomo, their second highest wicket taker in their T20I history. She suffered a bit of an injury during warm-up, so she's not available. So there's one less strike bowler you have to worry about. Can you now find the runs and facilitate this lineup?
My goodness. That is a huge loss at the top of the lineup. Nomvelo Sibanda, left arm quick, over the wicket, bowling to Disha Dingra to get us started off here. Here's the first delivery of the second innings. Bang on target as you'd expect from the excellent left arm fast bowler. Dot ball to start things here in the first over.
Kept things quite tight. Didn't pick up a wicket, but in her 2 overs just 2 days ago, picked just the 6 runs that she was giving up, bowled 9 dot balls. So that was the real key, the dot ball pressure that started the innings for Zimbabwe.
Oh, look at that shot. Oh, my goodness. Onto the back foot, hammering it over mid-wicket for 4.
Well, 2 days ago, couldn't hit anything. Couldn't get anything out of the middle. Welcome to a new day. Welcome to Sunday at Grand Prairie, Brian. Rocks onto the back foot and heaves it away. Beautiful timing. And again, this is why Disha Dingra has quickly made a name for herself.
And a good piece of batting there, too. Solidly in defense. No runs coming from it. But I want to go back to that replay again. That was a thing of beauty over mid-wicket. That was absolutely special. And Disha Dingra showing why she's one of the most feared hitters, certainly in associate cricket, and then showing what she can do here at the highest level against the top-level team. Played off the back foot. They'll get 1 run here. So positive start with the bat for the Americans.
And this will be the key. Yeah, you can get the odd boundary. Just not already Pagdidialo was getting the boundaries in the previous matchup. It was the singles that flurried around them. You picked up your 4, get 1. Can you just continue to milk the singles away? It wasn't the flying start from Zimbabwe early on. In the first 5, they only had 26 runs for the loss of 1 wicket, but they just kept the scoreboard ticking in their favor.
So now Chetna Reddy Pagdidiala, left-hander. Last ball of the over coming up, so you spread the field. Fine leg comes up, and deep point goes into position. Obviously, you're inside the power play. So looking to keep that ball outside the line of off stump to the lefty. Noticeably also, top right of your screen, first slip in position. And that's worked into the leg side for a single. What an excellent start by the Americans. You love seeing the confidence that it looks like they have. 6 without loss.
Yeah, much more intent to start things off here in the first over.
Oh, my apologies. 1 ball remaining. But yes, I completely agree with you, the intent. Say more about that.
Yeah, and again, it's just from the desire to get the singles, right? Rather than playing it to the middle of your bat, but straight onto the pitch. There's no opportunity to score. You can see they're looking around, where are my gaps, and how can I just look to score off them? We mentioned the economy rates, and Banda only went for 9 runs in 2 overs. 6 runs in 2 overs just a couple of days ago. Already gone for 6 here in the first.
This now will be the last ball of the over. Flicked around the corner, at least a couple runs here. Long run and finally retrieved by Precious Marange. 8 runs coming from over number 1. The Americans will absolutely love this start. 8 without loss.
"17 years old, and with a batting lineup that is so deep. We saw even Aditi Bachudasma and Pooja Ganesh bat lower down the order and find success. This is a team that can put on these runs."
So very interesting to match what the Americans did with pace versus spin, or pace and spin. Open the bowling now. Since you've lost Josephine Como, you open the bowling with the off spinner, Precious Marange. 42 years old, one of the most experienced cricketers ever for the country of New Zealand. 60 matches played for the country and has taken 56 international wickets with the best of 5 for 7. So she knows what she's doing with the ball. And interestingly, an economy rate of 3.97 is one that you'd absolutely be satisfied with. Down the leg side, and more runs here because that did not flick anything on the way through. So it's going to be wide. So a couple of wides, 2 bonus runs to start over number 2.
Yeah, for Precious Marange, she knows her strength, and it was just like the Lucian of the breakfast ball, if you will. When she's on, it's so difficult to play, and she almost found more success to this Shadingra, which feels the inverse, right? You'd expect the off spinner to enjoy bowling to the lefty, but bowling to the right-hander, she felt so comfortable, and she might almost say, all right, you know what? I've given up the wide, gave up the run, but now I get to lick my chops at Dingra.
So this Shadingra, 7 from 5. Chetna Reddy, Pagidiala, 1 from 1. Goes for the big swipe outside off stump and misses.
And this is interesting delivery with the field set. She doesn't have the deep cover fielder, so she's inviting Dingra to go over the top and playing that mind game. Also, no third in place as well.
She is, I'm so glad you highlighted that. She is intentionally incentivizing this Dingra to go over the offside.
I would just say that fine leg, square leg fielder can be pushed into the third region just for that outside edge that can be invoked.
Oh, well, you gave the carrot enough times. Dishadingra finally gets it out of the screws over the top of extra cover for 4.
Well, Precious Marange must not have been watching that under-19 World Cup that happened just a couple of months ago, because this was a patented stroke from Dishadingra. It's effortless. It's what she's after, and you give her that kind of width, that kind of length, and every day of the week she's going to put you away to the boundary rope.
So such a positive start here for the Americans. 7 runs from the over already with 4 legal deliveries still to come. Off the back foot, sky down the ground, landing a couple of, oh my goodness, should have been stopped, was not stopped. And it goes away for 4. Adel Zamuna, who was generally very good in the outfield, not able to clean that one up. 4 more runs.
It's amazing what a bit of pressure can do to a side. Zimbabwe didn't miss field on Friday, and right there to start things off after Dishadingra's put up 2 boundaries already, Adel Zamuna just spills the beans a bit. Back-to-back boundaries for Dingra.
So thus far, the experiment to open the bowling with the off spinner has not worked. Tickled around the corner. My heart skipped a beat when I saw her take 2 steps down the track, but not going for a run there.
But it was sensible in the way that she's looking to play the shot. She didn't look to overhit it. She understands they've picked up already the 11 runs from the over. You don't do that too often to Precious Marange.
This time it's fielded at short extra cover, no runs. So a couple of dots. Relatively expensive start to the over, but she's just looking to close out strongly here, Precious Marange. And the last ball coming up here. In the air, did she clear mid-off? 1-2 bounces, 15 runs come from over number 2. Dishadingra is on fire. 23 without loss.
It's just the same Dishadingra, Brian. It's so different. It's night and day from what we saw 2 days ago. The width on offer, full on offer. These were deliveries that she just missed out on Friday. And today, she's cashed in every chance she's gotten. 23 from the first 2 overs compared to Zimbabwe after 5. We're 26 for 1. The U.S. have gotten off to the start they were after.
To that same point, after 2, Zimbabwe was 8 without loss. And the U.S. essentially has multiplied that number by 3, still without having lost any wickets. And I'll tell you that they'll be a lot more comfortable with this start here for the Americans. It's going to be, again, the left arm pace of Nomvelo Sibanda coming from the States end of the northern end of the ground right here in Grand Prairie.
I'll tell you what, usually I would say me and you have the best view of the action. I'm going to say it's just not already Bucket the Yellow. One ball, one run, stand at the non-striker's end and let Dishadingra go after it.
Played elegantly, but straight to extra cover for no run. Look at these replays coming up. Look at these fours. My goodness. Look at just excellent ball striking over extra cover. That was beautiful. Oh, my goodness. She's looked so good, Dishadingra. And we'll see exactly how well she can keep this going. As it's again Namvila Sibanda. Left arm seam. Crashed through the offside, but there's coverage. A sweeper out there on the offside. But the Americans generally look very comfortable right now, man.
Yeah, they do. Bugdy Diallo is after that point region. That's why that fielder's in the deep. Zimbabwe have recognized where the scoring options were.
Yep.
It's Dishadingra's assurgence, if you say, in this game compared to last. These shots weren't coming, and she's timing them. She's not trying to hit them too hard, rather than just trying to middle the ball. And that's the key difference in her game. She struggled with that to open Argentina, found her rhythm, left as the leading run scorer.
Oh, beautiful. What a great diving stop. She possibly saved 3 runs there. That was struck beautifully timed through the offside. They get a single.
And the key for that as well, getting that single, the call was immediate. Knew it was to the right of the fielder, would have to make a great stop and then get the throw in. Both batters were communicative. They were ready to go straight away. This is signs that they've learned and they've looked back on the mistakes they've made.
That's what you want to see. One additional element is that it was to her right, and she's a left-handed thrower. So you'd have thought all of that, kept all of that in mind, and these are the little things that you do as a side that will change the overall outcome of the match in so many ways. Played into the extra cover area, no run.
Good fight back here from Sibanda, and they need a couple of quiet overs, Zimbabwe. Yes, the scoreboard pressure is always going to be there. Required run rate just a touch under 7 at the moment. But you've got to find a way to make these two batters feel that runs aren't coming. And with Dinger's start, it's going to take a huge effort.
Repeating the dosage into the extra cover area, no run. A dot there. So, interestingly, I'm looking at extra cover, and it appears as though Keliston Dlovu is warming up. Do you take her out after 1 over or do you take out Precious Maranga after 1 over to replace her? Something to keep an eye on. Worked into the leg side. This is what good batting looks like, Aman.
Come back for 2 as well, Brian. It's good batting, it's good running, it's smart, it's educated, and they've, again, revamped the way they want to attack Zimbabwe. 27 without loss after 3. And I do think Zimbabwe do need to make a change. I think they have to go somewhere. This is typically where you'd see a Josephino Nkomo come in and really be tight and tidy. Do they turn to spin? Is it going to be more spin from one end? They could go into someone like a Laureen Shuma who does pull that little bit of a leggy. You know, is it beloved Biza, who gave him 4 tremendous overs, just 18 runs, picked up 3 wickets, plenty of options.
Well, the question for now has been answered. It's going to be the young lady Adele Zemunu. You saw how well she did on Friday. Bowled excellently, as you mentioned earlier, man. Her first over from memory, 1 run, and it was an extra, and she took a wicket. She's going to want to recreate that type of a spell right here, bowling to Dishadingra, who's on fire, 19 from 11 with 4 fours. Oh, what a good-looking strike. Oh, and it gets through mid-off. It will run away for 4. Or will it? Slowing down, but just now getting there. What a start. Excellent shot for 4.
And what have we talked about with Dishadingra? The timing she possesses. She's not looking to overhit the ball today. Countless occasions, the bat would just kind of twist in her hand because she's looking to throw her hands. Rather now, she's just looking to punch with a full face and just elegantly does so. Yes, sloppy in the infield, but when you play good shots, you get rewarded, and that's what Dingra's getting rewarded with today.
What an excellent piece of batting. Chiesa Dururu is a right-hander, so she would have wanted that ball on her right to be able to stop it effectively. It passed her to the left, so not exactly to secure it, but my goodness, what a great start here for the Americans. And she plays the ball. When she plays with a straight bat, it is so elegant, and at least today, she times the ball so perfectly.
And don't forget that Adele Zamunu is just playing her second T20I. So now she's being forced to think about her bowling in a way she hasn't. She wasn't tested on Friday. So this will be a real challenge for the young quick.
Slammed, but I'll tell you what, that is a great stop in the covers. She absolutely saved 3 runs.
And when you started out the day as Zimbabwe with a misfield that's led to 2 fours, 2 misfields, 2 fours, you need efforts like that to just kind of reinvigorate your side and show them the standard again. That'll do the momentum a world of good for Zimbabwe, and do Adele Zamunu's confidence good as well.
My goodness, that was Loreen Chuma in the covers, who made an absolutely brilliant effort to, again, save 3 sure runs for her side. Those are the little things that bowlers want to see from the fielders. Want to see that support in the field. And now, interestingly, deep third is now dropping back. Fine leg coming inside the circle. You're looking for something more on the line of off stump. Bowling over the wicket to the left-hander Chetna Reddy Pagadiala, and she knocks her over. Absolutely. Played all around it. Leg stump knocked back. The first wicket goes down. The Americans are 32 for 1.
It's out of left field. I'm not sure about the shot selection on this one, Brian Walters. Yeah, Chetna Pagadiala, she likes to be aggressive, likes to go down the ground, but Adele Zamunu is bowling stump to stump, not giving you much room for anything else. And it's a hack across the line when it's not needed. Disha Dhingra's batting well. You've picked up 5. You have the boundary. Find a way to get another single on the board. Instead, Zimbabwe go, you miss, I hit. And there it is, the end of Chetna Reddy Pagadiala goes without affecting the scores too much, 32 for 1.
And you mentioned earlier that she was in the best viewing position to see the Disha Dhingra show. But part of the maturation, and that shot to me says there's pressure building. But understand that there's a difference between pressure on an individual and pressure on the team. There is pressure on her only because she's only scored 2 runs from 3 balls faced. But the team itself is going along excellently, going at the rate of almost 9 and over. So understanding that situation, be perfectly ready or perfectly capable of patting that one back down the pitch. Isana Vagela now coming in at number 3 to see whether or not she can assist in maintaining the momentum that was started by the opening pair. Played into the offside, no run. Oh, they went for a single. My goodness. Oh my goodness. Aman Patel, your thoughts about the wisdom of taking that single?
Seems like they forgot everything they learned just over the past couple of days. Hit straight to point. Dhingra's off. Vagela is running. Doesn't need to. And again, there's just no single there on offer. Anywhere close to stumps. And Asani Vagela is walking back on a golden duck.
Wow. Very wide. And signal is wide by umpire Vijay Malela. Aman Patel, we've seen spots of brilliance from the Americans in the innings so far, but a couple of some evidence that it's not all together there yet. Last ball. Slammed, but straight to short extra cover. That is the end of over number 4. The Americans started out very well and still doing well.
Slip up on the American side, and they were able to get themselves some momentum. They didn't relinquish it. They kept the pedal to the metal and put the Americans on the back foot consistently. Yeah, you got off to a great start if you're the USA, but it doesn't mean anything if you lose 2 or 3 quick wickets here and you let Zimbabwe back in. What you have to do now, as an American side, is say, okay, we've lost the 1 wicket, fine, but let's keep runs flowing, and let's make sure we're not losing anything. Let's make sure we keep the batting depth among us.
So you go to spin, but with the left-handed Chetna Reddy Pagadiala having been dismissed with 2 righties at the crease, you go to the left-arm orthodox of Kelly Slovo. Tossed up, played into the offside, no run. Good move, bad move?
I don't mind the move to go pace spin and use that combination. I think it can work, and I think you have to throw different options at Deshadingra and Isani Vagela.
It's to the point where you get nervous every time the ball is played into the infield because it just appears as though they're still unsure about how to judge their runs. Tossed up, played to mid-on, no run. Look at that, a direct hit. Now you get to steal a run. Or do you? Yes, they do get a run eventually because the throw came in from mid-on, struck a direct hit, but you do go for an extra run.
You're not sure that throw was really needed from mid-on. I felt like it was a pretty safe single in the end. We'll take a second look at it. Throw comes in. No one's running, and then they take off. Again, it's just these little situational things that need to be cleaned up from both sides. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hit the stumps there, but it would have been out. You have to lift the stump back up with the ball in your hand.
But I will tell you this. I would take a counter argument and say, in the mind of the runners, that was a direct hit from 23 yards away. Maybe I don't take her on. And so that essentially, even though you give away a single, it puts you in the position of being able to put the thought in the mind of the runners that they can't go for those quick runs. End of the over 1 ball remaining, end of the 5th ball, if you will. 35 for 1 with 1 ball to come. What a great start with the ball for Kelly Slovo. End of over number 5. The score, Aman Patel, is 35 for 1.
Brian would have been a maiden without that direct hit overthrow as well, but with to that, these are the pressure overs are starting to build, right? And that's why you like the idea of Ndlovu. She takes the ball away, doesn't allow the opportunity to get underneath it, and she can just be quietly tight and get through her over. You might not get a second one from her, you can, but now it just allows you to go back through your progressions. Adele Zamuna will continue into her second, picked up the big wicket of Chitnaredi Pogediala. Slashed away and straight to the fielder. Isani Vagela was looking to go over the top, but Zamunu, after not taking a wicket on Friday, has got her first 2 T20I wickets. What a moment for the young quick.
Was the ball there to be hit? I think the answer to that question is yes. But I don't know necessarily. You've heard the saying, Aman, keep it down and keep it out. Or hit it over or keep it down. That one was neither. It was struck head height. The fielder is inside the 23-yard circle, right on the edge of the circle. So you'd get the sense that that would have been a pretty straightforward catch. And Isani Vagela not exactly able to elevate it over the top. So that is the second wicket that goes down. And all of a sudden, a couple of wobbles here in the American side, 35 for 2.
It's amazing what pressure does. Wicket is already Pogediala, a couple of dot balls to follow that. Just the 1 run from over number 5. And Isani Vagela, her eyes light up, thinking, oh, I have to get this one to the boundary rope. Instead, all she can do is find the fielder. It brings out Bhakti Shastri. So promotions for both Vagela and Shastri. A little bit of a demotion for Agargi Bogle. But it looks like they're happy to bring up a Bhakti Shastri.
Well, Bhakti Shastri is very experienced. He said earlier on Friday that she played a high-level first-class cricket in India. Now getting acclimated to the U.S. setup. But I will tell you that This partnership is going to be a very, very important one.
Wow, nearly asking the question straight away. Bhakti Shastri is handy in these middle overs. She plays spin exceptionally well. Doesn't have a lot of international stats. Just made her debut yesterday, but in T20 cricket, averages 48. This is close here, Brian. Did it come up bat or pad first? It's close. I reckon it's closer than Zimbabwe would have realized, because I thought that was pad first on second look. Your thoughts?
In baseball terms, it's a bang-bang play. And ball, pad, and bat all coming together. Maybe it is so close that having the benefit of the replay, you think that might have struck pad first. In real time, that's tricky for an umpire to make that decision. And it's not a written rule, but generally they say the benefit of the doubt goes to the batter.
Yeah, that'll be one off the leg buys. Absolutely. Again, there's no DRS here, but we'll have a second look. We have the advantage of replays, and we'll take advantage. A little bit of tail. Steps all the way across. Brian Walters. What a moment of the match that could be.
That is on off stump. Bang in front, on off stump. That is hitting middle and off. The only question to be answered, bat first or pad first?
There wasn't a huge appeal either.
There was no appeal that I can see. Wow.
That is a shot and a half from Disha Dhingra. She just waits on it ever so slightly and annihilates it through the offside.
Oh, my goodness. I said this earlier, man. We're in an enclosed commentary area. We heard that shot as though we were on the boundary line. The sound that ball made off of the bat was imperious. Absolutely brilliant strike there from Disha Dhingra.
And only now they've sent back a sweeper cover fielder. That's where Dhingra's been scoring all her runs. That feels like a shot too late. Straight as you like. Chase to be given, runs to be had, and 4 of them to be had. That is the classiest shot in the book, and she's played it to absolute perfection.
She has given us some choices to decide which is the shot of the day. This one for me is the shot of the day. Absolutely zero flourish. If we can see that again, zero flourish, just straight bat and punching it straight down the ground. Absolutely brilliant shot. That's the one that is straight out of the textbook. Oh, that was lovely.
Could be tight. Could be very tight. I reckon direct hit would have...
Cricket action at your fingertips.
There to drive again.
Watch on the fastest live streaming provider, StyxSports.
Well, Disha Dhingra has kept things going. Bhakti Shastri yet to get off the mark, but Zimbabwe, they just have this knack for hanging in there, don't they, Brian? It just doesn't feel like it's anywhere near over.
There's the shot that we were talking about earlier. Just no flourish, just punching it down the ground. All timing, all class.
Second over for Gillison Deluvu. Why not? Just went for the one run. Really just off an overthrow as well.
Exactly.
For the first time in the series, a little bit of guesswork for Zimbabwe. That turn away, it feels like I would almost say, let's get a slip in with that much turn coming in, with Dhingra playing with hard hands. There's an opportunity there. Glorious place to perfection Don't mind that one. 4 more for this Adingra.
Her favorite scoring area, up and over, extra cover. Aman, on Friday you heard the Zimbabwean contingent being very vocal. As of right now, to deep mid-wicket at those boundary ropes, in the stands beyond the boundary ropes, you hear the Americans who are absolutely cheering for everything that Disha Dingra does. What an absolutely brilliant start with the bat for her. 50 up on the board, by the way. 50 runs inside 7 overs. Excellent start.
Bhakti Shastri just gets home as well. This is good running. Yes, it was hit right to the pitch, but there's no one around. The fielder's pressed against the ring. Easy single in the end.
And that's what we were referring to earlier. If you essentially take the pace off the ball, if you hit it straight, well-timed, straight to the fielder, no, you don't run those. This one was hit soft enough that they could make the effort to get to the other end. And that is good batting. Absolutely brilliant stuff from this pair so far.
Shastri was undone trying to play an adventurous reverse sweep on Friday. More conventional on this approach. Again, she's a fairly decent player of spin, having spent a lot of time domestically in India. But what the U.S. will be hoping for is not the dot balls to follow, but can we just find ways to get to 8 and over off singles?
You mentioned that she was out to the reverse sweep. This does not feel like a reverse sweep type of situation. Just keep doing exactly what you do now, scoring at the rate of 7.65 and over.
Dingra pushes that single along, gets there in the end. This is great communication and understanding of where the runs are on offer.
You love to see that. And, it goes without saying that these women play in separate leagues all around the country, don't always play together. So the communication between them is not automatic, but being able to get in the middle and essentially work out how you're going to get these runs, that is such an important part of this game.
Misfield won't lead to any runs to close out over number 7. And at the close, another tight one here for Ndlovu. Just gave up the 6 runs, 52 for 2. Runs on the board. The Americans above that, thanks to Disha Dingra, who's had an absolute unbelievable day with the bat in hand.
Look at that stroke, one straight down the ground over extra cover, and in a few minutes you'll see my favorite one straight down the ground. That one, oh my goodness, gun barrel straight for 4, absolutely looking the part. Boy, everything that you've seen from her so far, 39 from 26 with 8 fours, all of 8 fours, and she has absolutely put the U.S. in the position if they play sensible cricket, and that's a huge qualifier. If you play sensible cricket, you can go on to win this game.
Beloved Bees are now into the attack. 3 wickets for her, just 16 years of age, and she's been so effective for Zimbabwe through her young career. Run away through third man, intentionally played down to third, and they'll find a couple of runs as well.
So, with my qualifier that I mentioned just now, if they play sensible cricket, this looks like sensible cricket. No risk in that shot. The ball is turning away. Simply just open the face, run it to deep third for a couple of runs. You can do that. That approach alone will get you 8-9 runs and over without needing to hit big. And then if you get bonus boundaries from Disha Dingra, then all the better.
And it also disrupts the line for Zimbabwe as well. Far more extras we've seen on a more consistent basis here for Zimbabwe, just trying to do something different, which they didn't have to do on Friday. So you're just toying with bowlers' minds as well. Nearly gets through on that occasion, the top ball.
Had no idea where that ball was there for a second. You talk about extras, 6 total in the innings so far, but that equates to 11% of the runs that have been scored. So you're helping the Americans score, which is something that the disciplined side like Zimbabwe hasn't done.
And this is also different from the Americans as well. Bhakti Shastri, what she just do? Use her feet, get to the ball, and change where she's meeting it. Something we didn't see from Disha Dhingra on Friday, or Chetnaredi Bhagatyala, or the rest of the American batting lineup. Again, you want to see a side like the U.S. learning from every outing. They've done so.
And as a spinner, you're thinking, okay, this batter just used her feet to come down the track. So now I need to be more careful or more judicious with my length. And that essentially becomes an advantage to the batting side, because now you have the spinner guessing as to where to bowl.
Nicely carved into the onside. Good use of the crease as well. Again, using your feet doesn't just mean you have to come down the track. You can get deep in your crease and find new gaps to score into.
Of course, provided you don't step on your stumps, as what happened in Friday's match.
Unable to get it away in a quiet over. Just the 5 runs from beloved Visa's first. 8 overs gone, 57 for 2.
Cricket action at your fingertips.
There to drive again. Thick edge to this.
Watch on the fastest live streaming provider, StyxSports. Stream now on StyxSports. Live, fast, and free. Don't miss out. Only on StyxSports.com.
Well, that current run rate above the required, and that's something you wouldn't have thought would have been happening this early in the match. And the Americans now have an opportunity just to ease their way through. They don't have to go at 7 and over, 8 and over for the rest of the way. They can take their time a little bit. They get 5, they get 6, and just keep themselves in punching distances. Okay, listen to Lovu, 3rd on the trot.
Left arm orthodox is working very well to the 2 righties. You mentioned the other day about when you have in a T20 a bowler who is bowling 3 on the trot, it puts you in the position where the batters can start lining them up. So there is risk in doing that. However, I'd probably make the argument, Kalistlovo, the first over she bowled, over number 5, went for 1 run. Second over only went for 6. And she started out well here. So ultimately, she's a net positive for her side.
What turn we're seeing on offer. And again, we're using the same wicket through the 3 T20Is. And again, this one's just sharply moved past the outside edge.
The reverse sweep comes out for the first time from Bhakti Shastri. Interesting choice of shots there, Man Patel.
She's asking for the wide. Bhakti, as soon as you move over, the wides are just the blue lines away from you. No run on offer. This is brilliant stuff. Again, I think Bhakti Shastri is just unsure of where to find her runs. Just the 1 run from the over. You don't see this too often. And again, exactly what Zimbabwe need to claw their way back into the match. Her foot has just saved the day. Typically, you say that of someone who is going on the boundary rope. This time, it's clubbed straight into the boot at the end of the 9th over, 58 for 2.
Replay. Look at this. Really good delivery. The offs are the orthodox spinning left-hander is really doing the job here for her side. 3 straight overs, very frugal, and it feels like her spell so far is the difference between the Americans running away and at least being kept in check by the Zimbabweans.
as we've seen all day long, it feels like deja vu when Disha Dhingra's on the money, and yet again, another boundary.
Stop me if you've heard this before. Disha Dhingra loves scoring through the offside. Blasted through the covers, 45 from 32 with 9 boundaries now. You see on that replay, just off the middle of the bat and piercing the gap between point and cover. No coverage in the deep, always 4.
And this is the difference. It's this ability to go get 1, give yourself a chance at maybe 2, that have consistently followed the boundary balls. It hasn't been boundary, 3 dots, Brian, and that's why the U.S. has just been able to keep themselves at striking distance. That's the simple cricket you're after, Bhakti Shastri. No need to try to get into the inventive reverse sweeps or go all the way across your stumps. Down the track, down the ground, safe is all you want.
And down the track, meeting the ball in a half volley is such an effective ploy, particularly to a young bowler like beloved Biza.
Fielder in place and spills it. Won't be able to take and claim the catch. Won't give up the boundary either. And they'll come back for 2 runs.
So straight to her in the deep, straight into the breadbasket, as you can say, and straight out. So she will want to have taken that catch. That is Chieza Dururu. And interestingly, Chieza Dururu is actually the reserve keeper. So you think if there was somebody who would have good hands in the field, it would be her. Not able to take that catch and the run there off the last ball of the over.
Again, just have a second look at this. It's hit straight to her, had to move in just a touch, but it's gone in and straight out. And what a moment that could have been. Disha Dhingra.
Cricket action at your fingertips.
There to drive again, thick edge to this.
Watch on the fastest live streaming provider, StyxSports. Stream now on StyxSports. Live, fast, and free. Don't miss out. Only on StyxSports.com.
Flicked away nicely.
Want to watch fastest live streaming with no delays?
Cleanly.
Get real-time updates. Only on StyxSports.
It's taken the over. Pace it well.
Stay ahead. Stay real-time. Get fast streaming. Only on StyxSports.com. Cricket action at your fingertips.
There to drive again, thick edge to this.
Watch on the fastest live streaming provider, StyxSports. Stream now on StyxSports. Live, fast, and free. Don't miss out. Only on StyxSports.com.
Flicked away nicely.
Want to watch fastest live streaming with no delays?
Cleanly.
Get real-time updates. Only on StyxSports.
It's taken the over. Pace well.
Stay ahead.
Lauren Schumer, for the first time, taking up the attack from the theater end. Bowling to the lady who is on 49 from 35. This is played into the leg side. What a 50 for Disha Dhingra. Absolutely brilliant stuff, Aman Patel.
She's been brilliant. Brilliant strokes through the offside. She's gone over the top. Everything has been cool, calm, collected to bring up her 4th T20I 50. Plenty more to come for this young lady.
So you do have a partnership that is building. It is now worth 33. But of that 33, Bhakti Shastri has only contributed, as you see, Disha Dhingra is figures there. In fact, we'll look back at this after this next delivery. But the point I was making, Aman Patel, is that Bhakti Shastri has only contributed 5 from 15. And she's shown signs of being a little bit impatient at this stage. That's what I want to see her doing more of, but not hitting to the field and running directly. Oh my goodness, the partnership is broken. Run out at the non-striker's end. That is the end of Bhakti Shastri.
Pressure is the #1 player in any game of any sport of any kind, and that's what was building upon Bhakti Shastri. She'd played 15 deliveries, had just scored the 5 runs. You had seen her go to the reverse, to the conventional sweep. It wasn't coming off, so she just felt like she had to go on a suicide chase. Easy as you like for any fielder, and you invoke the direct hit, you're not going to miss out by too much. End of Bhakti Shastri, and the U.S. lose wicket number 3.
So that is a big one. And the reason it's a big one is because it sort of exposes the underbelly of the Americans' approach from the standpoint that they don't do very well at this stage with pressure. So back to Disha Dhingra, on 50, but has to start over with a new partner. That is such an elegant-looking shot into the deep for a single.
And we spoke about this during the break as Pooja Ganesh will be on strike. She was actually very nice in her innings that really didn't result in much in terms of a result, but 21 off 20 on debut, or not on debut, but in just her 3rd game, first game with the gloves. When you look at the card for Zimbabwe, you have scores of 40, 46, 20, and 18. Right now, it's Disha Dhingra and nothing else to speak of. Telephone numbers for the states beyond her.
Short, pulled away into the deep coverages in that area. So, a productive over for the Zimbabweans. They strike back with a wicket courtesy of a pretty suicidal
come in and look to score quickly. She has, it's just bludgeoned the ball from ball 1. But you don't have to play in that role. Get 1, get 2, let Disha Dhingra continue to funnel the strike and continue to just put on the runs and keep Zimbabwe under pressure. Good opportunity for the young cricketer.
So back to beloved Biza. Tossed up, struck down the ground, should just be 1. And that is Chieza Dururu, who is in position. She will have wanted to have taken the catch that she dropped off of Disha Dhingra a couple overs ago.
Not many times you see this. 3 teenagers invoke 2 batters and the bowler, all of whom under 20 years of age.
My goodness. Youth abounds. Sometimes with youth comes inexperience. This pair, their challenge is going to be just warding off any butterflies and doing what they need to that they know need to be done. And it also means that you don't take off running when there's no run there.
Pooja Ganesh is very active, not just in the way that she bats, but the way she likes to use her crease. Expect her to move across and down at beloved Biza.
Skied, it will land in no man's land. They'll get 1 run. Man, what you saw was positive batting for the first half of this innings. It feels like there's some desperation and some rash shots sneaking in right now. Looking to force through the offside. No run there.
Well, I think it's just coming from the uncertainty of who's going to score the runs. Again, I think the states feel the pressure of, okay, we're in the game, but who's gonna get it done? Disha Dingra's, will she have to bat through, or will someone carry the torch with her?
Down the ground, Chiedzadururu is after it, and that's just a single. 4 runs came from that over. Excellent over from beloved Biza. Also, Aman Patel, as you look at the Manhattan.
Cricket action at your fingertips.
There to drive again. Big edge to this.
Watch on the fastest live streaming provider, StyxSports. Stream now on StyxSports. Live, fast, and free. Don't miss out. Only on StyxSports.com.
Singles are coming, but how many dot balls can you pile on? They've done better, the States, but Zimbabwe, they're looking to keep the dot ball percentage up.
Off the back foot, just a single now. So you're getting to the stage in the innings, and you just pose the question, if you are Disha Dingra, do you need to bat through for your team to win? Lorraine Schumer continuing here. Off the back foot, played into the covers. Sweeper out there cleans up. But answer that question for me. Does the U.S. need Disha Dingra to stay there all the way to win this match?
I think she'll have to stay there at least until over 17. And she'll have to do a lot of the damage in most of the partnerships going through, because the spinners operate in such a way when they get one, they seem to just get 2 or 3 very quickly after that. Disha Dingra can take advantage of the pace later on in the innings. So if she can just get through this initial period, through the 15th, I think she can do a lot of damage through over 16, 17, and maybe 18 if she's still there. And that's where I think the U.S. has a real advantage.
So if you are Zimbabwe, you absolutely want this wicket right here. Lorraine Schumer played into short mid-wicket. You can kind of hold your breath every time they take a single inside the circle, but this time they get there pretty easily.
But I enjoy that element of risk on that single in particular. It's diving out to your left at mid-wicket and then to your right at mid-on. So there's work to be done at both ends. There's a single on offer. Go take it.
Look at Pooja Ganesh using her feet. Very similar shot to the one that Bhakti Shastri played. The difference there is that they did not take off for the run. And so now 1 ball remaining, actually 2 balls remaining here in over number 13, but the required rate now, man, is over 8. Skied, pretty simple catch, and put down. Oh my goodness. That is Precious Marange, who puts down one of the more straightforward catches that you can take in a cricket match.
Well, Pooja Ganesh had no idea where that ball went. She was looking around, and Disha Dingra just said take off. And they've already put down Dingra on 48. Ganesh now gets a life on 5.
Played down the ground for a single. Should have been a wicket in the over, but it only yields 5 runs. On balance, the Zimbabweans have actually clawed back into this match. The required rate is now 8.29. Score after 13 is 79 for 3.
Have another look. Again, she's just almost forced into the sweep, settled underneath it, and then at the last moment had to reach out. And that's the real thing. When you talk about catching, everyone thinks about their hands. It's your feet. That's what you're catching with. You got to provide yourself that stable base. And from that position, that determines whether you're taking a catch or not.
So back to beloved Biza. 3 overs, none for 18. Looking to bowl her last over here now. Disha Dingra, 56 from 4 to 3, slams it in the air. Oh, it is a drop. It is a tough chance. Absolutely tough chance, but you'll want to think that that should have been held by Kilis Ndlovu. One-hander almost pulled off there, man.
That's 2 drops and 3 deliveries there. We spoke about how Zimbabwe was so sharp in the field on Friday. That's the second time you've dropped the Disha Dingra now, and this could be the difference in winning and losing today's match.
Boy, what a moment this is. Look at this replay again. Hammered. And just here you'll see the one-handed catch almost taken. In fairness, it was a very, very hard catch. Now this is stroked down the ground for a single. But, Aman Patel, those are the things that can make a difference in any cricket match. Those half chances are what sometimes is the difference between winning and losing.
Well, the first one that's put down was simple as day. So the next one you're going to get is going to have to be a touch tougher.
Oh, knocked her over. Full and straight. The stumps are knocked back. Is that the end of the Americas' hopes? Disha Dhingra, clean bowled, out. The Americans are 81 for 4.
Brilliant piece of bowling from the young beloved Biza. Slowed it up and just kept it angling in. Disha Dhingra looking to go into out. Wasn't given the width. And it's a you miss, I hit situation. Big celebration as well, because now the Americans have to put things together relatively quickly with 2 new bats. Dhingra goes for a well-played half century, but will it be enough? 81 for 4 here in the 14th.
So Ritu Singh in at the wicket. And Ritu Singh, who has been, as you see the replay there again, full and straight. Disha Dhingra probably wanting to play that one a lot straighter instead of going through extra cover. Ritu Singh can hit big. She's fearsome down the order. If she's in the position where she has to hit, then she can be dangerous. But don't know if we're exactly there yet. Immediately off the mark here. And in fact, you now do have 2 women from the St. Louis area at the wicket, looking to see whether or not they can transfer that St. Louis magic down here to Grand Prairie, see if they can somehow shepherd their team home. Last ball coming up here, over number 14. Advancing down the track, Pooja Ganesh is looking very positive in her approach. Gets a single to end over number 14, but a good one for the Zimbabweans as they have taken the big wicket of Disha Dhingra. The Americans are 83 for 4.
The question has to be asked now, what's up with Gargi Bogle? What's the plan with Gargi Bogle? Did she pick up a little niggle out on the field that we're unaware of at the moment and can't come to bat? Or is this a ploy to save her later in the game and use her as a hitter? Because typically in her career as an American, she has been batting at the top, maybe one down.
At the fall of wickets here, the first one knocking back the off stump, then a catch, and then another one where the off stump, or that time the middle stump, was knocked back. So the Americans have wobbled. They're wobbling at the moment. The required rate now up to 8.84. 54 runs needed in 36 balls. Played off the back foot. They'll get a single here. My apologies. The required rate was exactly 9. And now goes up a little bit more with that single. Oh. So tricky times here for the Americans, man.
Yeah, too many small towers coming in place. They need to start to accelerate and climb, and this is where the spinners can be so handy for Zimbabwe, just to continue to ply on the wickets at this stage.
Huge swipe and a miss. Now, how does Ritu Singh approach her innings from here? Does she play her natural game and just swing for the fences? Does she try to place the ball in the gaps? What do you think her approach should be?
I want to see her look for ones a little bit now, because you're not in the position where you have to go all guns a-blazing. Yes, the required run rate is continuing to climb and is moving towards 10, but if you can just facilitate it until the 16th, 17th, you give yourself a chance.
Stroke down the ground here. It's interesting. Mid-on is inside the circle. There's a deep mid-wicket, but mid-on is exactly inside the circle, looking to incentivize her to hit over that area.
They're wicket hunting right now, Zimbabwe. They know they can just continue to claw in with the run rate climbing.
So those are the singles that you're looking for, man. Do singles fit the bill at this stage?
I think runs fit the bill at this stage, right? You have to find a way to do something to score. Pooja Ganesh has done well enough to get a single off every ball she's played, really, as of late. Ritu Singh just has to play in that same vein.
Hammered away A lot of work for deep mid-wicket. Great sliding stop. So she'll save 2 runs. That is good work in the deep. What a really good piece of work. But you get 2 more runs for the Americans.
Yeah, great commitment out there in the outfield. But what the singles do is if that were to escape and go for 4, now you're looking at having 7 runs from the over rather than just the 4 because you've played 4 dot balls.
Another single, intelligent batting here. A little straight on the pads, worked around the corner. So 7 runs from the over. 90 for 4. The last 5 will be interesting. Aman Patel.
Looking at confirmation, there are these 2 women from St. Louis on what's required. It's 47 from 30. That's what separates the U.S. from their first T20I win over Zimbabwe.
It is working. The required rate has consistently increased over the last several overs. Mentioned the 2 women from St. Louis. St. Louis is in Missouri. Missouri is the show me state. I want them to show us intelligence and maturity. I'd love if the U.S. were to win, but more than anything else, I want to see maturity and a smart approach.
And you can see just this mixed result here from Ritu Singh. She's just unsure of what vein to play in.
Kalistlovo continuing, and this is again having trouble getting the ball off the square. Kalistlovo, 8 runs conceded with 4 balls remaining in her spell. Absolutely brilliant bowling, and she is proven to be a high challenge here for these batters.
She's proved to be the Zamunu, if you will. She's played that role today where she's just been economical, doesn't have the wicket to her name, but she almost allowed Zamunu to pick up wickets during her overs. She's picked up 2. And there's plenty of bowling options. Marange still has 3, Sabanda has 2, Zamunu has another 2 to go. Dragged and heaved away from the fielders. It'll be a much-needed boundary for the States. Ritu Singh with a bit of life into the side.
Ritu Singh using the feet, skipping down and dragging this one just over and to the left, make that the right of the fielder at mid-on. Diving attempt, not able to get there. Look right here, you'll see how close mid-on gets to it. Just over the top. And the boundary for Ritu Singh and the Americans.
Well, with the 3 dots to start the over, you need another boundary. That's what's going to be the run of order. Ritu Singh's the bat you want if you're looking in that flow. Misfield. It'll allow them to get the 1. Every run's so vital here for the Americans.
Yeah, that one off the outside edge. Zimbabwe, who looked extremely sharp on Friday, has shown some, let's call it, they've come back down to earth a little bit in this match. A lot of misfields and certainly several drop catches.
Looking to go down the ground. We'll just pick up the 1 to close out over 16. What a spell from Kalistlovo. Both 3 on the trot, mind you. 14 from her 4. It's 96 for 4 in the 16th over. Drinks being run on, and a message surely to follow as well. This is 41s left in the last 24 overs. This was a game that, coming out of the first innings, 4 overs left, you would have thought that it would have been Zimbabwe's all the way. But then the way the Americans started, it felt like it was all the Americans, and now it could just teeter in any direction with Lauren Schuma coming back in.
Well, the Americans only managed 96 runs on Friday. They're exactly at 96 now with 4 overs to go. How close do they get to that 137?
What a stroke that is. Inventive nonetheless from Pooja Ganesh, and that's a way to put a statement to start the over. 4 runs.
Well, you don't care how they come. Very unorthodox, let's put it that way. Wanting to skip down the track, but regardless of the error in footwork, it came off the middle of the bat. Look at this. There, she's actually down on her knees, but she finds the middle of the bat down to deep fine leg. You'll take those runs all day.
And he gets a single as well. The amazing part was how still her head was during the whole thing. She went forward, went back, fell down, and her head was just locked in. And that's the real key. If you get the head still, you're going to create power. Now Ritu Singh's 10 off 10. Can she find runs as 100s on the board? Yeah, finds 1 as well. Zimbabwe won't worry too much about the singles, but with the 4 to start, the Americans can get to that 9 and over, Brian.
They can. 6 from the over already. 4 balls to make that 3 balls to come. How does Pooja Ganesh go here? She has appeared to be much more aggressive. She looks for the sweep. Helped out here by the ball going down the leg side. But, Aman, I think the aggressiveness that she has shown essentially has goaded the bowlers into bowling some loose deliveries.
Yeah, we mentioned how Zimbabwe just somehow have come back down to earth in the field. A lot of that's due to the pressure that's now on them that wasn't there on Friday, period. Another run down the ground. Every run so vital at this stage. With that wide, they can push to 10. And again, they're going to need that per over as that required run rate continues to jump.
Interestingly, though, it was up 10.25. It's now back down to 9.9. Which tells you you're going in the right direction. 8 from the over already, 2 balls still to come.
Gets through. We'll take it. The misfield won't matter. It'll be 4 runs, and Ritu Singh will accept them gleefully.
You hear the cheering coming from the American contingent. 4 bonus runs. Has to be said, that ball should have been stopped. So more evidence of the sloppiness in the field that we've seen. Look at that good-looking shot. It was a good strike and slowed down by the misfield, but still managing to have the legs to go to the boundary.
Gets through. Ritu Singh will have to go. 2 boundaries in the over. Was looking for a 3rd, and instead Loreen Shuma gets through and picks up a vital 5th wicket for Zimbabwe.
So, as I said about the show me, I wanted to see maturity. And Ritu Singh being very inventive, wanting to walk all the way across and play to backward square leg to a ball that was on the stumps. That has an element of risk all over it. So punching it straight down the ground probably would have been the better option, particularly with 12 runs or 12 runs already from the over. And then looking at that replay, it actually came off the inner half of her, in fact, off of her pad onto the stumps. So, unfortunate for the Americans. 12 runs come from the over, but the Zimbabweans take a wicket. End of over number 17. 108 for 5.
Brian, we asked a question just a little bit earlier. Gargi Bogle, what's the status? When does she come in? She's in now. She's at the non-strikers end, and she packs a punch as well. The question would be, why have they waited so long to bring her? But she's out there now with 29 runs left to get in 3 overs as the opening bowler, Zimbabwe, she's got the ball in hand. Struggled to 1 bat only, and that was Disha Dhingra. How does she go against the 2 at the tail?
So Numbula Sibanda, 2 overs, so you would think she'd bowl overs 18 and 20. Curious move because you usually save your best bowler for over number 19. But you still have 2 bowlers or 2 overs from your strike bowler operating around the wicket to Pooja Ganesh.
Hello, Pooja Ganesh. You'll get a little tickle on it, and Gargi Bogle will just get home. I'm unsure of the shot selection. I'm unsure of the run. I'm unsure of everything that we've just seen, but it's the most adventurous single that we've had today.
The reverse sweep, first of all, is extremely curious. And then the underhanded throw from Mupachikwa Modesta Mupachikwa had that hit. Obviously, she would have been dismissed, Gargi Bogle, without having faced the ball. But you said it. She's a big hitter, a left-hander no less. And so the opportunities to score runs from your big hitter now present themselves.
Well, stopped in the infield will only be one. If you notice there's a bit of tape on the right shoulder of Gargi Bogle. So wonder if there's a shoulder injury that was just picked up out in the field. And that's the reason why she hasn't been out to bat.
And generally seems to be moving a little gingerly. So, you know, neither of us is a doctor, so we don't want to speculate too much. But maybe there was something that caused her to not be at the top of the order.
More conventional. Could be a run out again. Bogle will just get home. Finding streaky ways to get singles, but what a start to the over from Zimbanda.
3 straight singles. So your required rate is now getting back into double. In fact, it is in double figures. As you see the replay there. Hitting straight and a more accurate throw probably could have been trouble for Gargi Bogle. But you're now looking at 26 runs from the last 15 balls rather.
Where does she look to go? Both third and fine leg inside the ring. Daring Bogle to go behind square. Just going to be one down the ground. It was firmly struck, but Nomelo Zimbanda hasn't strayed far away from the plan. She's been excellent so far in the 18th.
Absolutely excellent. And again, you would think that she would have bowled, or she will be bowling over number 20. So you have 25 runs to get in 14 balls. Do you look for a scoop shot here?
Doesn't get it away again. The option isn't poor because third is inside the ring. But the entire offside is inside the ring. You're almost saying, Pooja Ganesh, there's no sweeper cover, there's no deep point. Go over there rather than trying to really reinvent the wheel.
Boy, and what a brilliant over this is. Nomvelo Sibanda, the vice captain of the side, just making sure everybody knows. And in fact, she may have been listening to you because there's now a sweeper out in the deep.
We'll just drag it into the onside. They could push for a second. Ganesh is sent back. Close of the 18th. What an over this was. Just 5 runs from it. 24 from the final 12 deliveries.
So that makes the equation pretty simple. You and I can both do that math.
Cricket action at your fingertips.
There to drive again. Big edge to this.
Watch on the fastest live streaming provider, StyxSports. Stream now on StyxSports. Live, fast, and free. Don't miss out. Only on StyxSports.com.
Very experienced in these situations, but was expensive today. I reckon you go to Zamunu, but if you're looking at experience, Marange fits that bill.
Well, your first choice is the one that the captain chose. Adele Zamunu bowling the all-important 19th over. 24 from 12 needed.
Look at the field. You still have that third inside the ring alongside fine leg. And that sweeper covered. Wonder if Pooja Ganesh is going to try to move across her stumps with square leg inside the ring to clear there. Unable to get any bat on it. She has the right idea. Fine leg and square leg inside the ring. But she just needs to get bat on ball to make this a productive shot.
That's exactly what she was trying to do. Look at that. And how did this miss the stumps, by the way? One, as I said yes on Friday, one more coat of varnish and she's dismissed. But it's a precious dot ball.
In front of square on this occasion. Well done in the deep. They'll come back for a second. But that initial dot ball put so much pressure on Pooja Ganesh.
Great work in the deep. Again, that's Chieza Dururu. You saw the big drop from her earlier, but my goodness, she's been excellent with her ground fielding and definitely saving 2 runs there and adding to the pressure that's building on the Americans.
Same region, same results. Another 2 runs off for Pooja Ganesh, and she's keeping things afloat. Remember, Brian, Pooja Ganesh was dropped on just 4 by Precious Merengue. How much are they regretting that drop now as she moves to run a ball 23?
Oh my goodness, yes. And so obviously you've now 3 delivers into over number 19. You need 2 runs off of every ball. At least you needed 2 runs off every ball at the start of the over. You've now fallen behind that pace, so you need to increase beyond that. So are you at the point now where you need at least 2 boundaries from this over and then see what you can get from the last over?
That fielder's making no mistake now. It was hit firmer, and she just swallowed it whole. Made it look ever so easy out there on the rope.
3 straight balls hit directly to Chieta Dururu. She does not make any mistakes. The drop catch earlier aside, and she has limited the scoring in this match and in this over because all of the balls in this over have gone directly to her. She's in the hot corner, if you will, and she's fielded expertly in this over.
It's been brilliant from Zamunu, who's just been on a length straight at Pooja Ganesh. Now operating to the left-handed Gargi Bogle. Still no fine leg in the deep. 3rd in the ring as well. Questions to be asked here. She takes on the left-hander for the first time. Could this run away? It's spinning away, but it will just hold up. They'll come back for a couple of runs.
Not the firmest of strokes from Gargi Bogle. I think if she gives that the full flourish, it flies over the top.
And just playing in her 2nd ever T20I has been absolutely brilliant. Long on comes much straighter. Big gap between long on and deep mid wicket. Straight to the fielder and put down. It's grassed. Can you believe it? She had just been moved into that exact position, and instead of collecting and claiming Gargi Bogle, she's given up 2 runs and given the U.S. a breath of life here as we close the 19th.
Get fast streaming only on StyxSports.com.
The youngster not able to collect that one, and a pretty straightforward chance. In the context of this game, though, Aman, does it make a big difference? Because you still need 15 runs off of your strike bowler, and she's not looked like giving up 15 runs, Novella Sibanda.
Novella Zimbabwe has been absolutely brilliant, but pressure is pressure. And this is pressure unlike anything we've seen so far. 15 required for the U.S. to claim victory. Pooja Ganesh on strike. Tucks it fine. Fielder has a lot of work to do. Will come back. And Pooja Ganesh has to hurry. And does get home in the end. 2 runs.
Off the bat, I thought that was 4. It was in the gap, but didn't hit it as cleanly as I thought she would have. Interestingly, all the protection in the deep is on the leg side. Everyone inside the circle on the offside. Can you manufacture a way to get runs over the offside if you're Pooja Ganesh?
13 left to get for the States. 5 deliveries to do it in. What a delivery. Cleaned him up. The Yorker to perfection. A little dance on the way through as leg stump goes, and Pooja Ganesh has to take a walk.
You miss, I hit. Full and straight from around the wicket, left-hander, bang on leg stump, And Pooja Ganesh's fighting innings is ended courtesy of a brilliant delivery from Nomvelo Sibanda. Look at this, full and straight. Again, that ball landing just short of the popping crease, absolutely full. Pooja Ganesh making room, trying to go through the offside. As we talked about earlier, everyone inside the circle is on the offside. So in theory, there's runs to be had in that direction. But you need to be able to play the ball first. And having missed, then the only other place the ball was going was into the base of leg stump.
A much-needed innings from Pooja Ganesh comes to an end. It brings out Gitika Kodali because of this. And it's just perfection right on the crease line, trying to open the face and guide it through third, but nowhere to go. Again, this is a Zimbabwe side without Josephine and Como, their premier seamer. And Zimbanda has taken that role to perfection. She's got 4 deliveries left to close this one out, and she's going to be bowling to Gitika Kodali, who can hit the long ball, but it's a big ask now.
Huge ask. 19, make that 13 needed from the last 4. Have to find the ropes a couple times, and let's see what Gitika Kodali can do.
That'll help. That'll do the job. Zimbabwe trying to attack the legs. Free rees. Can't allow those.
You don't mind attacking the legs, but what you don't want is the ball going down the leg side. 4 balls still intact, meaning remaining, and somehow bat to ball here.
Well, Gitika Kodali, welcome to the party. It's the shot Pooja Ganesh was trying to do, but Gitika Kodali gets it done, picks up 4 runs.
Scoop shot. We called it a couple of overs ago. Finally comes off here with everyone inside the circle on the offside. Runs are to be had in the deep. And look at this. In position very early, and then just helps herself to 4 runs down to deep third.
8 from 3. How the equation has just changed, and now Zimbanda will have to think of a new strategy. The field is remaining the same. Where does she deliver this one? And she'll check up, and Kodali was in position to play the same stroke. I would just implore Zimbabwe to think about pushing third to the deep at the very least.
Just for a split second, I saw Nomvelo Sibanda signal to short third. I thought she was signaling to her to drop back, but she is still inside the circle, so that shot is still on.
We'll just get the single on this occasion. Good adjustment from Zimbanda. Just dropped it on a length. And now it's Gargi Bogle on strike. She's the batter. Here's who you want. But the equation, Brian, 7 from 2.
7 from 2. Look at your field. Deep third in position for the left-hander. Deep mid-wicket. Long on, long off. And deep cover. Those are your 5 outside the circle. And now they've made a change. Deep third is now coming inside the circle. And my goodness, it is all to play for. Can they manufacture 7 runs from these 2 balls?
As straight as you like. It'll beat any fielder. 4 from Gargi Bogle. She's done the job, and it's 1 hit away for the U.S. with 1 ball remaining. Don't blink an eye. It's 3 runs left for the U.S. to get.
Bang down the ground, right over the head of the bowler. And my goodness, that goes away for 4. Aman Patel, may I remind you, there has been a wide in this over. In theory, this game should have already been over, but this is now going to be the extra ball from that wide. So, what happens from this very last ball?
One thing's for certain, Gitika Kodali is coming back to the non-striker's end. She's running 4-2. Where does Gargi Bogle look to go? Huddle here for Zimbabwe. Changing of the field. Changing the fielder who is stationed at long off as well. Doesn't look like they're going to make any other big adjustment. Long off much straighter as well. 3 from 1. It's Gargi Bogle who had to wait her turn to bat. The cluster of American fans waiting for the final delivery of the innings. And we'll have to wait even longer. She'll miss the run-up. Just trying to eye Bogle. You love the mind games.
Oh, my goodness. This is the polar opposite of the game on Friday. You and I were just filibustered for the last 10 overs on Friday. This has come down to the last ball.
You can cut the tension here with a knife. 3 from the last. And this time it's Gargi Bogle who pulls up. You can't write a script better than this. Someone send this to Hollywood. This is brilliant.
Oh, my goodness. What a match. The team that loses this game will feel so hard done by, but the tension, as you mentioned, Aman, you can cut it with a knife.
Here it is. 3 from the last. Won't get it away. A lot of work for Bogle to get back, and Zimbabwe will claim victory. It's a post-pounding victory here in Grand Prairie, Texas. They'll win it by just the 1 run by the barest of margins. Zimbabwe have claimed the second T20I.
Oh, what a last delivery bowled by the vice captain, Nomvelo Sibanda. Held her nerve, kept it full, kept it straight. And the big hitting Gargi Bogle was not able to get it away. Absolutely brilliant effort. And a game that came down to the thinnest of margins. As we see the replay, could not have done much with that delivery. Full credit to Nomvelo Sibanda. And Zimbabwe does take victory by the margin of 1 run.
Held their nerve, did Zimbabwe, straight throughout the game. Never fell up and down with the emotions of it. There were points where you felt Zimbabwe couldn't lose it, felt where you thought America couldn't lose it. But in the end, it's Zimbabwe that claim it. And you look at this batting card, Brian. For me, it's just a string of low scores post the Shadingra. Brilliant half century, but unable to really find much else. Ganesh Singh play a good little cameo at the end alongside Bogle and Kodali, but not enough thanks to the brilliance of the Zimbabwe bowling.
Oh my goodness, and the bowling absolutely came to the party. Nomvelo Sibanda, expensive economy rate of 7.5, but she held her nerve in that last over. Excellent bowling in the middle by the spinners. I absolutely have to say that Kelly Dlovu was probably the best of the bowlers for me, even though she didn't take any wickets. Beloved Biza and Loreen Schumer also playing their part. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the U.S. come agonizingly close to defeating a test side at home, but unfortunately for them, falling short by the margin of 1 run. So stay with us, please. You will hear from Aman Patel at the post-game ceremony coming up in just a few minutes. Once again, the Americans falling short by the thinnest of margins. Zimbabwe wins it by 1 run. See you shortly.
What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different